Hey, everybody who have been eagerly awaiting the discussion, the meaty discussion with Mike of Mike Shaw TV. Well, here we are. So we are here to provide just entertainment, all kinds of faux pas and what have you to make you laugh if you feel bad. Susan K, I'm so sorry that you feel crappy this evening. So you just relax, close your eyes, chill out, and hopefully we'll make you laugh and we'll just have a good time here.
Yeah, so, Susan's cool. She lives in Kingman. I love Kingman.
All right. So, yeah, Susan ate some plums. And I tell you, I used to love plums. And my dad used to get them. Like, there was a guy who used to be on the corner of a main thoroughfare. Of course, now that main thoroughfare is a joke. I mean, it's so congested. But back then, it was a main thoroughfare, but it wasn't horrible. But anyway, this vendor was on the corner and would sell all kinds of stuff. And sometimes he'd get in peaches. You know, it was seasonal. Yep. And so we always liked it when he got, oh, hey, Tracy, how are ya?
That's my cousin.
Oh, fantastic. Well, all right. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Yes, we need some laughs.
No doubt.
We need some laughs.
Yep.
And
cousins in Tennessee.
Yes, I am in Tennessee.
So is my cousin.
Oh, fantastic. What area? I'm in Middle Tennessee. I'm outside of Nashville.
And if I remember right, he's more northwestern.
Ah.
Yeah.
Northwestern. So kind of, okay.
North of Memphis, quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, what is the...
Correct me if I'm wrong, cuz.
There's a...
west, he says he's west.
Yep, west.
North
I love
of Memphis.
Tennessee overall. Yep. I love it, but Nashville is just getting way too populated.
Don't California my Nashville.
Exactly. And look, everybody's welcome here, but if you're vegan, you can't vote. Sorry, you can't come here and take away our meat, man. I mean,
we decided that last night. That's
yes. Well, that's for our little town that we're going to form. All of us carnivores, we're going to have our own little town.
And, what was it, Meatville or something?
Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit. We could be, I don't know. We just have to get creative with some names. I haven't really sat and tried to think of any, but we could definitely come up with something like we could have, I don't know.
There was Pork Chop Park. I remember that from last night. I think that was Susan. And stuff like that.
Bacon Boulevard. That'd be my street.
Yeah, right. Bacon Boulevard. Yeah, that was one of them.
Because let me ask you this: do you ever get kind of tired of a particular type of food? Like I haven't really what you call like had meat aversion exactly, but like for example, I will go to town on eggs for a while. Yes. You know, with other things. You know, with my burger patties and all that stuff, but then it's like for a while I just don't want eggs, and so then I just won't eat them for about a week or so, and then all of a sudden I'll just start eating eggs again. It's just really weird how I've done that, but I have not done that with bacon or with the beef patties, but I've done it with eggs is my most common one.
So I get it with ground beef. You know, I can't afford a ribeye every night. If I could, I would. Or every afternoon, I guess. Because I eat OMAD, so usually I eat around 11 or 12, right in the middle of the day, depending. But, you know, since I can't afford a ribeye every day, I'll make kind of a ground beef, and I'll put some pork in it sometimes, and a couple eggs usually. And, you know, or I'll fry a couple pieces of bacon first, so I'll cook it all in bacon grease to get some extra fat and all that. But it's not, I don't know, I do get kind of tired of it. And I guess it was last week, I found myself putting a little bit of picante sauce in it, so to jazz it up a little bit. So that would be my one. But bacon and eggs and ribeyes, that's my sweet spot.
Yeah, I would eat ribeyes every day if I could cook one. So I've got to I need to
My
just
gosh.
buy a ribeye and then
Yes.
just find the simplest method online. My daughter said to just use I've got a cast iron skillet,
Yep.
and she said just get that sucker hot and then you just pop it in there for, I don't know, you leave it on there for a little bit and then you just flip it over. And then after that, she said you just like turn it off and then you just leave it on there for a little while. But see, she's a natural cook. I'm like, well, how long is a little while, or how long? I don't know.
So yeah. So what I do, I don't even heat up the pan. Sometimes I use a cast iron. Sometimes I just use my frying pan.
Uh-huh.
And while it's still cold and the ribeye out of the refrigerator, so it's not even room temperature, and I'll put a nice strip of butter down, and then I'll chunk the ribeye on top of it and turn up the meat to medium. And then once it starts to sizzle, I'll start the timer. In about 3 minutes, I'll flip it over. And then I'll do a couple minutes and then turn off the heat. And then I'll let it go for another minute or so and then pull it off, dump the melted butter and grease on top of it and put some salt and you're good to go.
That sounds pretty similar to what she said. It's just,
right.
But she's just like, I don't know. She's the kind of person who like can just, she doesn't measure anything. I mean, she just kind of just slings it in there and she just knows if it's right or not. It's just bizarre. I mean, to try to get a recipe out of her, because I'm like, look, I can follow instructions. If you just tell me what it is that I need to do and how much I need to put in there or what, or whatever it is, I can do it. But she cooks by feel. And my mother was like that. And her grandmother,
you didn't get the gene?
Well, it's a really strange thing. My mother's kitchen was my mother's kitchen. She didn't want anybody else in there when she was cooking. She just said she could just move around and do things. And so she didn't really want anybody in there. So I didn't really learn to cook anything much. I don't know. And then as an adult, I mean, I could cook some stuff, but like things like steak, though, I never cooked it because my ex-husband did. He did all the meat. Like he would grill, and we had several big giant smokers. We lived in a farmhouse, and so like he had this enclosed. It wasn't really enclosed, but it had like a roof. It had these big poles with a roof, and he had several smokers and like these tables. Stainless steel tables in there and everything.
Fancy.
And so he would make barbecue and just smoked meat every time there was like a holiday or like for the Super Bowl or just anything that came up. And people bought his barbecue.
Wow.
And then in terms of cooking meat, I mean, I could cook simple stuff and of course bake some stuff in the oven, but really things like steaks, even burgers and stuff, he just did it on the grill. So I just never cooked meat much. And then also we lived down this long driveway, and actually when I first moved there, I mean, we were a rural route. That's how
you got your mail.
Country it was.
Yep.
And but we lived down this big long driveway, and his parents lived in a house at the very end, and then we lived in what used to be his grandmother's house. And we would a lot of times go up to his mother's for dinner. I mean, she cooked those typical Southern meals too, where it was, I mean, she made everything from scratch too. Like there were no instant mashed potatoes,
right?
And, stuff from the garden and she worked a full-time job. I don't know how she did all that stuff, to tell you the truth. I'm too lazy, or maybe it's just not that important to me. I don't know.
That's probably it. It's probably priorities. Now think of this, Carrie. Remember, you used to have an aversion to go on the internet like you are now. And, after you healed from carnivore and you got over your anxiety, you're like, I'm going to start a channel. And you put yourself out there. And now you've got people waiting in chat for your likes. I'm telling you, this ribeye, it's the easiest recipe there is. You know, just put down some butter, put on your ribeye, 3-4 minutes on a side, depending on how you like it. Like my cousin Tracy said, he likes his to moo when it's forked. So do I. So I like mine pretty on the rare
Yeah,
side,
me
medium
too.
rare. Right. Okay. So I do 3 minutes each side, and that's a great starting point. And then if you need to cook it more, you can. I would say just do it. Just do it, and then you can experiment a little bit. You'll love it.
That's true. And if nothing else, I'll have a funny story to tell.
Yes.
Like if I blacken it.
Maybe record it. I mean, if you have I used to run in my apartment, I used to have a smoke alarm, and it would go off often.
Yeah.
In this place I'm living now, then I don't have that problem. Susan says my mic has a buzzing echo. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I hear a buzzing now.
Okay. Did it just start?
Actually, it kind of has come and gone.
Okay. Let me try something real quick.
Okay. You're muted. You're muted.
Settings.
Okay.
Audio.
Okay, I think it's.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
See, now I can't hear anything.
Oh, no.
Let's see here. Echo cancellation's on.
Yeah.
I broke your stream. I'm so sorry.
No, you didn't. You left and I brought you
I'm going to
back
be
in.
right back.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Apparently he wasn't able, once we could hear him, then he couldn't hear us. Don't you just love technology? And I don't know what the excuse is now that Mercury's not in retrograde anymore. I mean, that's the excuse I use when stuff is going wrong with technology.
Ta-da!
Okay. Now.
Okay. Is the buzz gone?
Yes.
Okay. Let's hope it stays that way.
Yes. We don't want that kind of buzz.
Right. Right. I'm wearing my concert shirt today, speaking of which.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Check it out. Metamorphosis.
Check it out. Yeah.
Look, here's something that I've been thinking about doing, but it would be a major undertaking to do it. And I don't know if I could do it in a year or not, or in 10 months or whatever. But I would love to have an event in Nashville and call it Music City Metamorphosis.
Oh, that'd be so good.
And then
that'd be so good.
Chris Cook in Nashville lives here in Nashville.
Really?
In this area.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Cook in Nashville. I guess he would live in Nashville. That would make sense.
And so and of course, Dr. Barry's kind of close.
That's right.
So
he could be the headlining speaker.
All we could get. So Chris Cook in Nashville could just cook for us. I'll just volunteer him for it.
And you could take home the leftovers. You wouldn't have to cook for a week.
I know, or a month, maybe.
Maybe a month.
Maybe. And everybody could just talk about, we could hear some good speakers, and then people could share their stories and just talk about what Carnivore has done for them. And of course, we would probably let our Ketovore, Keto, and Low Carb cousins in, because maybe we could convert them to Carnivore if they heard enough good stories. We're all family,
That's what it's all about. That's right. 7 degrees of separation. Yeah. Well, since the flood, we're all related to Noah and his wife. So there's that.
There is that.
Yeah, there's that. So, yeah, we are the world. We are the children.
Oh, I remember that was a major thing. But I'll tell you
everyone
what was
sang on
really,
that thing.
yeah, everybody was on there. I remember the Live Aid concert.
Yep.
And of course, the performance by Queen. Now, we didn't have cable. Of course, we didn't, because we were broke as a joke. So I went to a friend's house and watched it, but it was pretty wild. Yeah, to see
So broke, I couldn't pay attention.
Yep. So broke,
Yep.
What is it? Something about you ain't got a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out of. There we go.
Yeah. I haven't heard the second half of that before. That's pretty good. What did you like most about the 24-hour thing? I saw you in there a little bit, at least.
Yeah, I was in and out of it. Well, I don't know. I mean, I liked hearing all the testimonies and the stories. That's always encouraging. I love to and whether it's people in a chat or whether it's watching videos about how people have just overcome. And some people have overcome some really difficult situations. I mean, some very severe situations. And
seriously.
And what's awesome about it too is that when you really get down to it, they overcome its mental health. It's a whole slew of things. It's not just, I lost weight. And I mean, most people, 99.9% of the people who are doing carnivore are probably doing it to lose weight. And that's a great reason to do it. But the other benefits too, like for me, of course, I've lost too much weight, and so I'm going to be a skeleton for Halloween. I'm going to be a corpse. I always loved to dress up for Halloween. Halloween was my thing. And I may have to buy some more though. I'm not sure, but I'd get the liquid latex and put it on so it looked like my skin was all peeling. And then I would put like purple makeup like up under my eyes and stuff, and just really like tease out my hair and stuff. And I have this black, like a witch dress. The sleeves are all tattered and everything. I bought a big giant piece of black fabric because I was cheap. And then I just like folded it together, and then I sewed it up the sides. And so there was like these holes in the, for the arms, but because it was such a big piece, then it draped over, and then I just cut like tatters into it. And then then I've got a knotted belt, and I've had that costume for probably 25 years or longer.
What do you call it? What are you?
It's like a zombie woman, I guess.
Okay.
Witchy woman, maybe. No, witchy woman is right there.
The eagles.
That's witchy woman, the skull. I've had that skull since I was about 10 years old.
Is that who the eagles were singing about?
Oh, yes, witchy woman. Yeah. See how high she flies.
Yeah.
Yeah. No so anyway, I love I love Halloween, and so I'm gonna that's what I'm gonna be. But I guess the whole point of that story was though that even though I've lost a lot of too much weight, really, I am staying carnivore, and I'm going to work with it because I feel so much better. I know this is a great thing. I haven't felt this good in years. Now I will tell you, I was a beanpole when I was a teenager, and right before I became pregnant with my daughter in 1984, I weighed 105 pounds. So I weighed 5 pounds less than I do now.
Right.
So that's craziness. Right. But I don't ever.
Is that in your genes? I mean, were your parents like that, or your siblings like that? Yeah. I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. And you're doing the right thing. You're eating lots of protein and you're working out. I saw one of your videos last week. You popped out the gun show.
Yeah,
I was
well,
like, keep celebrating those victories,
it was a
girlfriend, because that's
biggie.
great.
It was a biggie.
I mean, seriously though, so like me, I mean, there's so many people in this community that are in the I've lost 100 pounds club, and some are 200 plus. It's
Yep.
amazing. And it's life changing. Me, I only have about 50 pounds to lose. But to me, that's a big deal, pun intended. And I'm starting to lose it again. And, 4 years ago when I did OMAD, 1 steak a day, I don't know. I didn't have a scale then. So I lost probably 40.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes such a huge difference. And, come for the weight loss, but stay for the mental clarity. And,
Yes.
If you have other autoimmune stuff going on or other types of inflammation going on, stay for that. I just watched No Carb Life, one of his older videos, talking about his dental health and how he has this tooth that is half fillings, and his filling came out during the what was it, the virus that shall not be named. So during that time, and he didn't go see a dentist. And since he switched to carnivore, he was waiting for it to start hurting, and it never did. And so he has half a tooth. He's doing just fine, and the gum bleeding's gone. He says he doesn't even brush his teeth every day. So it's like, because you don't have the bad bacteria in there, and you're not throwing in carbs and sugar that the bad bacteria eat on that dissolve your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Just one example. So it's like, because I've seen some other things too, like, bodybuilders can tolerate carbs, because what happens is when you eat sugar or carbs and they turn to glucose in your blood, and your insulin puts it in your muscles first. That's your glycogen stores in your muscles. Well, if you get old like I do and sit around for work and entertainment, you don't have the muscle tone anymore, and so it just turns into fat. But, I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll get back into shape, and then maybe I can start adding some things in if I actually do gain some muscle and that sort of thing. And then I started thinking about it. It's like, no, because what if I lose the mental clarity? I don't want, what if I have to see the dentist again? I want to skip all that stuff.
Yeah. And when I went, let's see, I think it was in March, because I actually go back for a cleaning again Thursday, right after I get off work.
Yeah.
So boy, and luckily the dentist office is right down the street, so it shouldn't take long. But when I went in March, and see, I'd been carnivore for like a little over 3 months, and they said that my dental health, in terms of like gums and all of that, were great. Now, I've had some things done cosmetically because I'm vain.
Come on. We all are.
because
Seriously.
there was a time in my life when I couldn't really afford to, fix a few issues that I had with my teeth. And so now I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am having some cosmetic stuff done. But my dental health in terms of the gums and all of that is great. So I'm like, yeah. And I know what Dave is saying. You don't feel that coating on your teeth. You don't have that,
right.
Just that. It's like you could scrape it with your fingernail. You could just scrape it off. Yeah. And I don't have that anymore. And I did a video very early on when I had gone to the dentist, and this was for one of my cosmetic appointments, but I was talking about that visit in March where they actually had said it again at that appointment too, how good my oral hygiene was. And it's not,
it's a good feeling.
I don't do a bunch of extra stuff. It's not like I floss for an hour, and I do floss if I feel like I need to, but it's not anything I don't do anything complicated. It's just, brush and go. I brush a couple times a day, and if something gets stuck, I get some dental floss out. It's terrible.
Right. Fish it out with it. I have a toothpick that sits on my desk here. So there you go.
Susan says, getting healthy and taking back your health and life is the goal. Weight loss is the bonus, regardless of how much each person has to lose, whether it's 200 pounds or 0. And that's right. It's just worth the price of admission for me to feel this good. So there we go.
It's so true. And Susan has done she's been on Carnivore 5 years, and she's made so much progress. Mm-hmm. She's not giving it up, and she's absolutely right. And so it's funny because in my Google Keep, I have a note that has what I just posted in chat on there, so I can just copy and paste it whenever I'm chatting, because it's one of my favorite carnivore jokes that I made up.
Oh, yes. I've seen you post that before.
Right. Susan says she's ketovore. My apologies.
Well, I think we've had this discussion before. Susan, didn't you say that you have, I think, yogurt, or Greek yogurt or something? Because that doesn't make you ketovore. I mean, if you have a few other vegetables, I mean, that's cool. But I'm just saying, I thought that that I had seen you comment in the past that you thought you were ketovore because you had Greek or some type of yogurt. I like the Greek yogurt. Cabot's brand is fabulous, and it's got the highest fat content I could find. It's called CABOT. They also make other types of cheese, but I get their full fat Greek yogurt, and it is phenomenal. And I have
full fat everything, please.
Yeah, I have reintroduced it, and yeah. Okay. So she's been carnivore 3 months. All right.
For 3 months.
Now we got that straightened out.
Well, and that's the progression for a lot of people, right? You start keto, and then you start learning more about it, and you start feeling good. And then you hear about carnivore or ketovore, sometimes transition into ketovore, where you start eating more meat and less vegetables and maybe, a couple avocados or whatever. And then, switch over to carnivore. That's kind of what I did the first time I went carnivore. And I think it makes it easier for some people. Now, I've also, the last time I went carnivore, this is my third time, sorry to say, and my last. I'm not giving up this time because I've had such good results. But the last time I just did it, I just switched one day and said, tired of eating ice cream every day and looking like this. So, I just jumped in, quit the ice cream cold turkey.
That's hard to do. It is. One thing, I've never been like, I'm not going to say I never ate junk food because that certainly isn't the case. But my thing was more of just, especially when I was single or in terms of like newly divorced and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And especially when it was just me in the house, like if my son wasn't here, my daughter was already grown and gone at that point. But my son was still young. And so, I mean, I would cook stuff, but it was basic stuff. I mean, it was, I would bake things or what, like a casserole or something like that. I could like I said, I could follow a recipe and, do some stuff like that. And to be honest, we probably ate out more than we should have.
Right. Or order a pizza, right?
Yeah. And so, I never kept a lot of junk food in the house, but periodically I would eat it, and it's, the stuff is good. And once in a while, I mean, most of the time I don't even really think about it, but there are things on occasion that I'll see it and I think, that would be really good. And then I'm like, nope, it wouldn't. And so I don't buy it and I don't get it. So I can't really say that I've ever had like a sugar addiction. I'll tell you one thing I think I was addicted to, and I'm not sure if it's just, I don't know why I was addicted to it. And that is seltzer water. I don't know what it was. It was just the generic seltzer water. And I would add like maybe a third of a packet of Element to it. And I was drinking at least a 6-pack of those a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I would just keep it right
was
here.
it flavored elements?
This is what now I reuse this bottle, and I know you're not supposed to re-drink out of a plastic bottle, but anyway,
I do.
I don't know. I mean,
we grew up drinking out of the hose in the front yard.
But I've got about half a pack of Element in here, and this is my second one of these, and this is 25.3 ounces. So,
let me ask you, Carrie on my wayward son. Let me ask you this. When you were doing the seltzer water with the Element, was it the flavored elements? Did it taste like a soft drink?
It wasn't sweet. I used the same kind of Element, and it's called lemon habanero.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yes, and it's not sweet because I really don't like I know that there are some of them. I had a sample pack, and they taste too sweet to me. And it was flavored like mango was my favorite flavor of the seltzer water. And it's not a strong flavor. It's just but I would mix the lemon habanero Element in with it. And I don't know, man, I would just drink like at least 6 of those a day. So everyone
has their vices, man.
Water instead. Good. And then just adding the Element into that, and I'm drinking a lot less water. I think that was part of, and they do recommend that to people who, when they're trying to lose weight, they'll tell them, when you think you're hungry or something, to reach for some water, because your hunger signals are, you're wanting to just put something in your mouth. And so just instead of, grabbing a treat or just grabbing something to eat, they'll tell people to. And it's not that your stomach's stupid and it's like, oh, well, I know I wanted food, but I'll take this water. It's not really that. It's just your habit of doing it. And it's sort of as a substitute. So I can see where that would make it to where a person would maybe not eat as much or as often, but I think I was doing it too much. Just reaching for that seltzer water. But I don't know, that other natural flavors, I just kind of wonder what that is that they have in there. I mean, it's 0 carbs and it's not a strong taste, but there's enough of a conspiracy theorist in me that I just am like, what is that? Because I'm not drinking as much, and I'm still using the same Element. Yeah. It's the same brand of Element. And it does taste differently in it because it's just regular filtered water. But it's weird. That was just bizarre.
So.
Have not tried, Tracy says, have not tried the carnivore diet, but I do eat a lot of meats, veggies, and greens, no sugar, 2 meals a day. Hey, that's better than 99% of the population.
Seriously. So, what's the problem that everyone is having? With the standard American diet, it's the vegetable and seed oils that your cells have no idea what to do with except get inflamed and malfunction. It's just over time, it just wrecks you. And then the other is, the carbs, sugar, that unless you're a bodybuilder or have a lot of muscle and are metabolically healthy and are working out and burning it off every day, unless you're doing that, because then you have a place to store your glycogen. But if you don't, like most people, and we all like to overeat, the desserts and stuff, you end up getting fat and inflamed, and then that causes all kinds of problems. And this, I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on the internet, but this is what the doctors are telling us, and the keto doctors anyway. And I'm hoping that more and more doctors catch on, because it's just like that country song that I posted. You start healing from all of these different things. People with autoimmune diseases, people with acne, people with skin problems, people with SIBO and the other one in your digestion, leaky gut. All of these things do better. Diverticulitis. And because you get rid of that inflammation, you start feeding your body nutrients, which, ruminant meats is the most nutrient dense food on the planet. And then the body starts to heal. And the good fats, you need a lot of good fats for your brain and your brain health, and people's cognitive function get better. I had floaters that were a big distraction.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some there, but they're mostly gone. I have to really look hard into a light to see them now. It's just.
Funny you mentioned the floaters. I hadn't thought about
Yeah.
it. I mean, I didn't have them like bad, but I did used to have them, and I don't think I've noticed a floater in, I don't know how long it's been. That's interesting. It's sort of like you just kind of come up with new things, like when somebody mentions something, you're like, well, you know what? Come to think of it, I haven't had that either.
Yeah.
I used to have
Right.
that, and now I don't.
And then my tinnitus, depending on who you are,
Mm-hmm.
that used to be in the background most of the time. It didn't really bother me, but when things got quiet, I could hear it. And now it's not. I mean, I still have it sometimes, but not all the time. And right now, I can't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, it's not there. And so that's getting better by a lot. So, I mean, I don't have any autoimmune things that I'm dealing with or anything like that. So I guess I'm lucky that way. I've got good genes on the Italian side and the Shaw side. So that part is good. My grandparents, it's funny, my papa, and Tracy knows this too, but I mean, papa used to roll his own cigarettes, without filters and stuff. And he lived to be like 87. And then my other grandfather died from emphysema at 84, I think. So you probably take the smoking out of those equations, they'd probably still be alive at 140.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but it's so I've been blessed that way. But why I didn't know I was doing all this harm to myself, except I knew I was getting big. And I just didn't like it. And then I discovered all this stuff. So I'm really healing and shrinking. So
Well, we are the only
it's great.
creatures. Yeah, we are the only creatures on this earth, though you think about it. We are the only creatures who end up either, being larger or with all these conditions like that. And we're the only ones who struggle so much with what it is we're supposed to eat. I believe we never think about it. I mean, I truly never gave it a whole lot of consideration. Everybody knows junk food's bad for you, but I'm talking about like even the healthy whole grains and stuff. You really don't.
Right.
And because that's beaten into us. Now, I'm old enough to remember like the cusp of all of that. So I remember when the dietary guidelines came out and all of that happened, but people were still pretty thin. Overall, people were fairly thin. I mean, I'm not saying everybody was skinny or anything, but people were just in general healthier. And then, you didn't have all these instances of just the children with diabetes. I mean, you had a few rare type 1 children, but that's a whole different animal than type 2. Now so many adults are type 2, plus you've got the kids, and it's awful. It's just, I just wonder how we got so, how we drifted so far apart from what we're supposed to naturally eat and do. We just think we're smarter than God or Mother Nature, maybe, and we think we can just, this tastes good and we can eat it, or we can create something. I don't know. I mean, and when I say we, I mean as humans.
Right. Well, when the food pyramid scheme came out in 1974, and they started pushing it more into the 80s, and then that's when low fat became all the craze. Everything became low fat, and you had your Parquet commercials, and I can't believe it's not butter, and the blue bonnet crown would come on your head. All those,
everything's better with blue bonnet on it, supposedly.
With blue bonnet on it, with all the marketing that went into it, and that's what wrecked our health. I mean, I put something in the comments yesterday and you talked a little bit about it. You know, the agricultural revolution thousands of years ago when we were growing our own crops and those sorts of things. You know, when you read the Bible, you know, people are eating bread, you know, they have honey occasionally, and they eat a lot of fish and they eat a lot of meat. But back then you were growing your own wheat. There was no such thing as GMO.
Right.
There was no processing. There were no seed oils, just olive oil, at least in that part of the country. And so everything, you know, your bread would only last 2 days or it'd start getting moldy. You know, it's like way different than the grain that's out there now. Now, you know, they have big harvesters. They get all the grain, they bleach it, they crush it, they mix it with stuff, they process it. It's not the same. It's just not the same anymore. And so that's why I think so many people do well on this diet, because even with vegetables, you know, a lot of people can tolerate vegetables just fine. But there are a lot of people who cannot. And then there's a lot of people who find out that maybe it's like, oh, that's why I had that weird thing. You know, that's why I got headaches, because they all on carnivore, and it's the elimination diet and it gets everything out. And then you can find out what you can start adding back in if you want to. I don't know that I want to. I'm just having so much success with this. And, you know, I don't want anything processed ever again. And when you go down the food aisle and, you know, your Honey Nut Cheerios say they're heart healthy because they're whole grain, it's like,
the tough school of nutrition rates that stuff higher than a breakfast of bacon and eggs. It's just incredible to me. I just don't even know what to say about that. They've got this whole rating system. And then, of course, I still can't believe that there's not a meat group anymore. Now it's just called the protein group. And if you're a vegetarian or vegan, you just ignore the recommendations to eat meat, because they actually have things that double as both a vegetable or in what they used to call the meat group. It's just nuts how they messed with everything, with our food. And yeah,
it's crazy. I saw that your video where you talked about that, where they included that stuff in the, you know, in the meat category. It's like, and then, you know, there's seafood too. Like some people love seafood. That's me. Some people hate seafood, but you don't have to have seafood. But I love your sardine videos that you've done. I just had a tin before I came on. Since I'm house sitting today and tomorrow, and I left the dogs back at home because I was going to do it from there. But one dog kept crawling in my lap and trying to lick my face and stuff. I was like, this is not going to work. So I came back. It's only 3 miles away. So I came back home for the live. But, you know, I decided I was just going to eat sardines today and tomorrow because it's just easy. You know, I don't have to mess up their kitchen. I could just carry a few tins of sardines with me and eat that. And I'm going to see how that goes.
I actually like
Tracy.
Sardines. They are
good. Me too.
They're really good. And boy, you put hot sauce on there.
Yeah.
I mean, I put
a little Tabasco.
I eat them at least one a can a day, along with my other food.
Sardines are pretty. So that you have two perfect foods, protein and fat ratio 3, I guess. Ribeye, eggs, and sardines. And also with sardines, you're getting omega-3, and you're also getting iodine, apparently, and iodine in shrimp too, which I love shrimp. And so, you know, Tracy's asking about fish and poultry. So yeah, I do fish. I do salmon once in a while. I haven't in a long time, but I do like salmon. So I'll do salmon. You know, I'm not digging the chicken as much anymore. I just don't do chicken much. When I do, well, usually I get a rotisserie chicken and that lasts me a couple 3 days. But, you know, I prefer just really the thighs or the leg quarters. So I actually have a pretty good recipe where I bake those. They're pretty tasty actually, but yeah, but yeah, smoked salmon for sure. for sure. And don't let me forget, Carrie, because I think I found the answer to your high A1C.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and share if you'd like. Go ahead. We can go ahead and talk about that.
So I know you were really concerned that your A1C went up, and that made no sense because all you've been doing is eating meat, right?
Right.
Right. So I found this video. I'm trying to remember who said it now. Apparently on the carnivore diet, your red blood cells last longer. And because your red blood cells last longer, that can throw off your A1C. Normally, your red blood cells last about 60 days. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people on carnivore, their red blood cells last longer. And so that can cause your A1C to be artificially inflated. How about that?
Yeah, how about that? It seems like, did somebody have a question when Dr. Ovadio was, he answered one of my questions on that 24-hour live stream.
That was great. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm thinking that, Aaliyah had a question or two, and I think that it related to the A1C. Mm-hmm. And there was a test that you could get that measures, I think it's something about measuring that whenever you measure this, it measures the life of your, but I don't know, because I just hope my A1C doesn't, cool. If it stays at 5.3, I'll be cool with it. I just don't want it to creep up, because then I've got two things I've got to make excuses for. Well, my LDL is okay because of blah, blah, blah. And, now my A1C stinks. And, well, that's because of this. My red blood cells are just living longer. And at a certain point, people might be like, yeah, you're full of crap. You just ain't healthy. You think you are, but you're not, Well, I don't know.
Well, you haven't caught up to, I'm older than you are, young lady. And, the older you get, who cares what they think?
Well, no,
who cares? Right. And the libertarian in you is like, yeah, I'll do what you want. I'm going to do my thing and leave me alone.
Well, precisely.
Yeah.
I do think that, like, for example, the doctor that I have, I think he really probably would be legitimately concerned with the LDL. I've known him for a long, long time. And if he hasn't been taught any better, or doesn't, just hasn't, I think they're stuck. They're between a rock and a hard place in terms of practicing medicine.
Sure.
It's very difficult to go against the grain. I don't know. I would love to
see what you did there.
Yeah. I would love to ask him, but I wouldn't want to make things, like awkward or whatever. Yeah. So I haven't, but I just wonder, because even when the nurse called yesterday, I thought I got away scot-free without any statin sales, but it was weird because I had two separate calls. I had one call last week about the fasting insulin. And then when the nurse called yesterday afternoon about my high LDL, she said that they were going to call me back when they got my fasting insulin results. And I was like, well, I already got those. Somebody called me last week, and then she says, well, let me check. And yes, I don't know how that worked, since it was an additional test. Maybe that's why they contacted me separate for they
had some blood left over.
Fasting insulin. I'm not really sure, because they also tested my vitamin D, and it was at 120. And,
is that good?
Well, you should. Dr. Barry says, it's great to be over, like around over 100. But
okay, good.
So 120 is probably not bad. But of course, she said that and I had to say that the reason that I was asking for it, it wasn't a complete lie. Oh God, now it's public. But no, I was just, I was just curious as to what my vitamin D level was because I've never had it tested, but I supplement with 10,000 international units a day. And I have been now for like a couple years, actually probably longer than that. And I never did get the virus that shall not be named, even though I took care of my dad who was very sick with it. And
good job.
So there supposedly is a relation to those levels and that.
Yep.
So whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
However, I was curious. I never had my vitamin D measured before. So I asked them for that. And I said, I couldn't just say, well, I want to know because I'm curious, because they have to put something down. So I told him, I just said that I wanted to know if I needed to keep supplementing at the rate that I'm supplementing. And so she said, and he recommends that you stop supplementing your vitamin D, which I am not going to stop. I may turn it down a notch, but I'm not going to stop it for sure.
Yeah.
Nope,
no way. And no way.
Especially with winter coming, because that affects your seasonal affective disorder. And I didn't get depressed in the winter. I will tell you though, last year I felt better in the winter months than I had in a long time. Excuse me. So that's something to be said. And that's one of the reasons I started supplementing the vitamin D at 10,000 international units back a couple years or so ago, was because of that,
Yeah. And I grew up in Oregon. So, it was cloudy. It was cloudy 9 months of the year and light rain and drizzle. So, I love that now. Can't remember if I loved it then or not. But so the other thing I wanted to say is, maybe Carrie, you're a mutant, because just natural variability in our genes. There are a certain percentage of people who are not going to catch this or that or something else because they're sort of have a natural immunity to it. And so maybe you are one of those people for the virus that shall not be named, which would be a really cool thing.
It would.
I mean, it's possible. Yeah.
And I've also seen some research about, now I don't really believe any of that stuff about diet and blood type, but there are some studies that are actually compelling about blood type and other diseases and stuff. Like, for example, heart disease. And as an O negative, apparently I have a decreased risk for heart disease. I will tell you, my dad is also O negative, and like his heart is like fantastic. Now, whether that's a coincidence, I don't know. So I'm hoping that my CAC score when I get it is a big fat goose egg. That's what I hope.
That'd be good. Yeah,
that's
I hope so too. I hope so too. But so that was, getting back to your A1C thing, because they're talking about it too. I guess my cousin's A1C is high, and that he and his doctor have no idea why. That one video I saw, and it was I think it was Sean Baker. I think it was Dr. Baker. And he was talking about your red blood cells, lasting longer, which would push up your A1C, even though you're perfectly fine. Your insulin is fine. Your glucose is fine. Your triglycerides, all that stuff is fine. And, said not to worry about it. I don't know if there's a test for that. You said there might be.
Well, it's not for that. It's not like a revised A1C, but what it is, that there's a test, and I don't know if what they're measuring, but apparently it's a way that you can tell whether your red blood cells are living longer.
Yeah.
Like the lifespan of them. So it's not that you're getting a different type of an A1C, but they can through some. I'm almost positive that I heard Dr. Ovadia say that, but I would have to go back and find him in the live stream, and it was toward the end. I was starting to
fall asleep a little bit during that time, but then I saw your super chat, so I've definitely paid attention to that, because I was just curious, and it's probably the best $20 you ever spent.
Heck yeah, I was excited, and plus it was for a good cause. I mean, hey,
exactly. And so I did pay attention to that part. But I mean, it would be interesting to see. So I think probably the way they find out about how old your blood vessels are is they send in little nanobots into your bloodstream with surveys, and the blood cells fill out the survey. And then that's how you find out. No. Okay, sorry. Just being silly.
So 2,000 units a day. Well, that's just you. You're just being you. You do you.
Yeah, thank you.
Ryan
Appreciate
says,
that.
hey, 2,000 units a day is, no, I take 10,000 units. 10,000 international units a day. And I've been taking that amount for, I would say about well over 2 years, probably going on 3 years. And I started taking it because I wasn't depressed, but it was enough to where it disrupted my life, in the winter. It was like, it was very difficult to just get motivated to do anything. I mean, I just wanted to lay around. I just didn't have, and somebody had told me about supplementing. I had always supplemented some with vitamin D, but it was not, it was a very minute amount really in the grand scheme of things. Probably about 2,000 units a day is about what I was doing. And so then I upped it to 10,000. And so that's why, and I was just curious because I had never had a vitamin D level taken. And last winter was like the best. I'm not going to say I was like just jumping up and down for joy and running out and jogging at 5 a.m. in the middle of winter. I'm not going to say that. Right. However, I will say that I was much more motivated. I did a lot more decorating for the holidays, for example, than I had in previous years. It was hard to get motivated. I live in a little house, and generally, like for Christmas, for example, and Thanksgiving, I go to my daughter's house. She's just got a bigger house, and my grandson's there. And so we just do stuff at her house or at my niece's house, something like that. So it's not, I don't know. I just didn't, but then I was like, you know what? I'm worth decorating for. So I drug the big giant Christmas tree out of the shed. And I had to drag it out in parts because it's pretty big. And I set that sucker up by myself and decorated it, got all those decorations out, decorated the fireplace, decorated everything, and had a really nice setup last year for Christmas. And then I invited everybody to come over for beanless chili. I never did like beans in my chili. So when I make it, I don't put beans in it. That's right.
Texas chili. Good job.
That's right. That's competition chili right there.
That's right. When I was a weatherman back in the day, you get asked to judge things, so one time I judged some Longhorns. That was fun. But so brisket was great. Being a brisket judge, I highly recommend that. That's a good gig.
I'll take that job.
Yes. And then the other one was chili, though. It's like you judge a chili contest and they bring you like 12 chilies. And you take a, they give you a little plastic spoon for each one, and you take a thing and you write down some notes. And I'm like, all these chilies, 12 of them mixing in my stomach, is there going to be an explosion or something? Or am I going to be okay? It was fun.
Oh, I'll bet.
Yeah. Yep. So, but I mean, that's good. That's good chili. No beans in chili. That's not allowed.
Don't know who we are, but we're going to watch it. Well, great. Hang out with us.
Thanks, Oreo.
We talk about all kinds of stuff. We're talking about the carnivore diet. We are talking about heavy metal music, great bands we've seen in concert, which I've seen like just recently. Saw Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie.
Nice.
Fabulous. Back in the day, I saw Rush, but I saw so many bands. I've seen Motley Crue and Def Leppard and Judas Priest several times. Kiss, of course. I mean, hey.
Of course. It's your favorite.
So, and I wear my concert shirts all the time. I have not seen Megadeth. This shirt was actually a gift. And I do like Megadeth, love Megadeth, but I've just never had the occasion to see Megadeth. And I just not long ago read Dave Mustaine's autobiography, and it's really good. It was really good. I got it on sale on Kindle. I think it was like $2.99 or something, and it was the best $2.99. I mean, seriously though, I mean, it was a really good book. I was riveted. I was just like, wow,
Nice.
this is really well done. And
Yeah.
you know, of course, he was with Metallica way back in the beginning, and it goes into some of the dispute. But here's the thing. I mean, he's discovered Christ, and
Yep. Amen.
he does a lot of good work
This side.
now.
Right there.
So Dave Mustaine is just
good.
super cool. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, and Alice Cooper too, right? We were talking about that the
Yep.
other night. Alice Cooper's a good Christian guy in Phoenix, does a lot of good. I'm going to miss his show on the radio, though. That was really good. So back in my crazy days, teenager, young adult, let's see. I know you know this, but maybe not everyone watching knows. My first concert, 1977, Portland Memorial Coliseum, April Wine. They were brand new. No one had heard of them, but they had She's a Roller was out. So April Wine opened, Supertramp after that, and then Styx on the Grand Illusion tour.
Oh,
I don't know if
that would be fantastic. I
It
love
was
Styx. I've seen them several
great.
times too.
So good. Tommy Shaw's he's got to be a cousin in there somewhere. I don't know. I didn't see him at the reunion, so I don't know. Let's see. Who else have I seen? I've seen Sammy Hagar. I've seen Night Ranger a couple of times. I've met REO Speedwagon backstage. I've seen them twice. Rainbow. I told you about Oregon Jam 80. That was Riot, Molly Hatchet, Black Sabbath with Dio, and Blue Oyster Cult. I saw Starship. Oh, you want to hear my Starship story? This is really good.
Yes, tell the Starship story.
This is really good. So, Portland, Oregon, they're remodeling the Paramount. And at the time, I was going to ITT Tech for electronics. They ended up kicking me out for bad attendance, even though I was on the dean's list. That's a side note. But so I'm hanging out with these guys, and a couple of them are in a band. They're rockers, you know. And so they're like, hey, we have a way to get into the Paramount, and then, you know, come with us. I'm like, okay. So we got there early, like noon, and hanging out by one of the back doors. Remember those push doors with the bar?
Yep.
So that was on the inside. So they had a coat hanger inside their coat. And when someone's looking and when the coast is clear, they pop open the door, and then we snuck up the stairs and into this closet. And there was a crawl space between the floor of the balcony and the ceiling of the downstairs. And we crawled all the way back, and they had pillows and a candle. And we sat in there listening to the sound checks. And then right when the concert started, one by one, we snuck out of the closet, and then you would just grab an empty seat or float or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was a great concert. And I don't recommend that for the kids. It looks like I'm frozen.
Yeah, you are frozen. Your voice is
That's
going.
not good.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know what happened. If you can hear me though, yes?
Yes.
Okay, let me stop my camera. I think my phone might have disconnected from my software. I use my Pixel 7 Pro for my camera, and I use a software called Camo Studio. Mm-hmm. And you load the you load it on your phone and on, there we go. You load it on your phone and on your computer, and then it turns your cell phone into a webcam. And pretty decent, but sometimes it'll disconnect, and then that happens. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so you got a Google Pixel? Is that what you
have? I have a Google Pixel, and I also have the iPhone 13 mini.
Ah.
So this is my phone. The Pixel was my the Pixel was my previous phone, and I just traded in my Samsung S22. My channel used to be a phone channel. Mm-hmm. And I would post things infrequently, but I just love gadgets. And so I would do occasional phone videos. Some of them did really well. Some of the videos, the iPhone videos usually. But I'm so disappointed with the Pixel. I can't even begin to tell you. It just has software glitches that I don't like. It doesn't do very well picking up Wi-Fi. It drops Wi-Fi, which is annoying because I don't have any cell service here So I rely on Wi-Fi to make calls and stuff. And then it was about 3-4 weeks ago, the volume rocker just fell off. Just fell off.
Crap.
For no reason.
I've got an S20 that I've had since 21, early of 21. Oh, my other phone, which was a Galaxy. Oh, good Lord. Let me put it this way. It was 6 years old at that time. I had that phone that long. It was a Galaxy S5, I think is what it was.
Yeah, I remember. That's when
it bit the dust.
That was my first Galaxy.
So I had been saving money to get another phone and just hadn't done it because I wasn't going to get on the plan to where you make payments on your cell phone. I wasn't going to do that. So I had money saved, but I just hadn't bought a phone yet. But I had to run down to the T-Mobile store because my mother was in the hospital and we were, and my phone chose then to not, it just wouldn't charge. And it was my fault for procrastinating. Because I had waited so long because I knew I was going to need another phone. But, and they didn't know what to do because I said, I want to buy the phone. And they just were like surprised, I guess, because everybody puts stuff on payments. But I was like, no, I want to purchase my phone. And
when you purchase the phone, if you go on payments with them, they get the hook into you, and they like that. They prefer that. So that's probably what they were probably playing dumb to try to get you in their system.
But I was like,
Susan has the Galaxy Z Flip 4. Those look really interesting to me, but the cameras are a big deal for me on phones. So I'm always chasing the best camera. And so that's why I really want the iPhone. What are they up to? iPhone 15 Pro Max. That's going to be my next phone as soon as I can afford it.
I've got the Galaxy Note 20 right now, and I'm happy with it. It's great.
I had that phone.
You can write notes, like they've got it's got a little stylus and stuff. And I like to do that. I write notes all the time. So
I had the Note 7. I had the Note 7. They started blowing up. So I finally had to trade it in when they wouldn't let people fly with it. And I had the Note 9, the Note 10, and the Note 20. I love the Note 20. That's a great phone you have. And then I've had the Samsung 5, S5, S6 Edge. And then I went to the Notes. I've had the iPhone 5, 6S, 7, 10, 10R, 11 Pro, 12 Pro, 13 Mini, and 14 Pro, which I sold. And then I started with a Palm Centro. I also had an HTC 3G something, maybe.
Yes, I had the Evo, the first Evo that came out. I loved that phone.
That was a great phone. It was kind of the first one besides Apple that had the nice screen and everything. It was great.
Yes. And then I had the 3D version where you could take the 3D photos. That came out after I've still actually got those phones in a drawer. I never did get rid of them. So if somebody's making a movie and they need a period phone, I've got some props. Ketovore Oregonian. Hey, I'm glad you're in the house. Yes,
Becky, what's going on?
Starches do convert to glucose just like sugar. And I did not know that when I was a very naive young woman who was expecting her first child and found out she had gestational diabetes. And so they were telling me all these things that I couldn't eat because back then they actually controlled it by diet. So they were telling me not to eat potatoes. I'm like, really? I can't. Potatoes aren't sweet. Can't have bread, can't have sugar, and they were telling me all this stuff I couldn't have. And I'm like, y'all are wanting me to gain weight and I can't eat anything except for meat and vegetables. That's what I remember. It's just crazy how different things are now. But yes, starches do convert to glucose just like sugar. So anything, bread, even whole grain bread, healthy whole grains convert to glucose. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess rice is a slightly better option. It's, it doesn't have as high a glycemic index, I guess, so it doesn't spike your insulin as much or as fast. But even then, when you're metabolically unhealthy, which according to the keto, all the ketovore doctors that we love in this space, they keep throwing out the statistic. There's like only 12% of Americans are metabolically healthy.
Yep.
So,
That's
unless
terrible.
you're in the top 12%, I don't know how much rice. And I don't care what people eat. I really don't. And everyone finds their way. And lots of people do fine on different diets. So,
Yeah, and
but
I'm not
for
look
me, this is the best way to go for me.
exactly. And this is the
Mm-hmm.
thing. I know that there are a lot of people in the carnivore space who say things like they should outlaw sugar or they should ban
Mm-hmm.
this. And you
No.
got to be careful with that stuff because once you open the door to starting to ban stuff, the next thing you know, when the powers change, suddenly it's what you want to eat that's being banned. I mean, like right now, they're talking about banning meat. And I mean, in a lot of places,
Yeah.
depending on whether you're on the left coast or the right coast, I mean, some of these places are having like meatless Mondays and stuff. So they're already getting the toe in the door. But when you start eliminating or making certain things harder to get or illegal or whatever, it is a very dangerous precedent. And I just prefer
I
the
agree.
libertarian philosophy, and that is, as long as what you're doing is not harming another person, and we're not going to get into a discussion about animals. I don't think there is a person on the face of this earth. Well, okay, I should rephrase that probably, but I mean, the majority of people in the carnivore space and the majority of people in the vegetarian and vegan space can agree that we don't want to make animals suffer. We can all
No, of course
agree
not.
on that point.
Yeah, of course.
So that's but having said that, I'm talking about if whatever you're eating does not make another human being suffer or does not cause harm to another person, then let them eat what they want. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that might mean that some people are going to eat sugar and they're just going to scarf
Yeah.
it down. And unfortunately, that might mean some people are just, they love their bread or their pasta and they're just going to eat that. And it's going to, but this is freedom of choice.
Right. It's your choice. So I'm 100% half Italian. How do you think how hard is it for me? Because grandma, who was from Sicily, taught me how to make the family sauce. It is amazing. I can tell you with confidence because I've been making it for 40 years and I've had hundreds of compliments. So I know it's amazing. And I'm not eating pasta. So, I mean, it's a sacrifice, things like that. But, as far as the banning meat stuff goes, I have and this, I was a member, I am a member of the Republican Party here in Shelby County. I got appointed to the Central Committee and I worked at the state level at the Arizona Republican Party in Arizona. And I was part of the Tea Party movement and was a chairman of the Pima County Republican Party there. Keith Olbermann's worst person in the world 2 nights in a row. That's a longer story. So I definitely have a big political bent. And I pay close attention to what's going on. And with the World Economic Forum and what they call, global warming, climate change, all of that stuff, they want to eliminate meat.
They do.
And it's not a conspiracy theory. The problem with these conspiracy theories is they're all coming true. And I'm going to be doing a video soon. Tracy, we are the mob. We need the mob. Yes, sir. And so I'm not making this stuff up. I'm going to do a video. I did one on my other channel, my Jesus is Coming Soon with Mike Shaw channel. But I'm going to do a carnivore video with some clips of what they're saying about programming digital money so that they can control what you buy.
Yep.
And the guy talked about, keeping you from buying ammunition, that sort of thing. And then I got this other wacko. It's too long of a clip. I might trim it down. But he's talking about making people allergic to meat and how they could do that.
Well, they've already done it. We've got a tick that'll make you do that.
So you've seen it then. I mean, it's crazy, and it's coming. And if you're a Christian, you have God's peace. You're going to be His forever. You don't fear, but you are bold, and you stand for the truth, and you do that in love. And just make people aware, and vote your conscience. It's important.
Yeah, and it is important to vote. And haggis, yes. And I had some haggis at the Highland Games Festival. Now, we could not make traditional ones in the United States. They usually use a sheep's stomach, and they put the lung, the heart, and liver meat into that. This was minced. No. It was minced, and I watched them cook it. It was minced, and they just cooked it on a grill, and the eggs were separate. It wasn't mixed with eggs, but there were eggs that were separate. And then they put it in a plate, in one of those styrofoam containers, and I scarfed it down. It was delicious. I know it's a surprise. It surprised me. I never used to eat stuff like that. Ever, ever, ever. I never ate sardines. I never ate liver. I never ate any of that stuff, and it was so
cod
good.
Livers.
I am eating them. I don't love them.
Yeah,
but I can get them down, and I use a lot of hot sauce.
I had cod livers this morning. Now, Carnivore Trucker is asking for the link to my other channel, but he's in your chat, not mine, so I can't chat him the link. So I'm not quite sure the best way to do that. Let me put it in my chat, and you can put it up, and maybe that'll help.
Yeah, I'll do that. I will definitely do that. That's cool. No, we want to get the word out. The more, the merrier.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the interest, and I mean, on my other channel, episode 1 was about digital currency and how that could be leading to the mark of the beast.
Oh, and basically, Carnivore Trucker's done subbed, so he must have found you.
Oh, good. Thank you, brother.
Now, see, you can tell
I appreciate that.
My aunt used to get so mad at me because I would say like somebody had done this, like he's gone to the store or whatever. That's funny.
That's awesome.
So
let me ask you this, Carrie, about the haggis thing.
Yeah.
First of all, I thought it was haggis, not hog. Is it haggis?
I don't know how to pronounce it. It's haggis.
I don't either.
Haggis? Is it a hoagie?
So because you could make a hoagie out of it, probably. So since it's minced up, you don't really know that there's lung in it, or how does that work?
Actually, the thing that I tasted the most was the liver, but it's like ground beef.
Okay.
It's the consistency. It's minced, and it's just like the consistency of ground beef, and it was just this pile of meat there. There's just this pile of meat.
Okay.
And then the eggs were on the side, the over easy eggs.
So you can't really know that. You don't really know there's lung in it, because that just freaks me out a little bit.
No,
it's
weird. Can't tell what it is. I mean, it's just meat. It just looks like meat. Now you can.
What's it taste like?
Honestly, the only thing that I really tasted that I thought I could tell what it was the liver.
Okay.
Was the liver.
Okay.
That was the main thing that I could pick out of it.
It's not spicy or anything. Probably being Scottish, it's probably not spicy.
It wasn't spicy. I didn't see him put like any spices or anything in it. I didn't see him do that. I just saw, they just put the meat up on the grill, and then they just just chopped it, and then cooked it up, and then they cooked at a certain point while the meat was cooking. Then they got the eggs and cooked the eggs right next to them, and they just had it timed right, and so they were both done at the same time. And they put your meat and your eggs in the container. And
I would try it. I had a girlfriend once in New Mexico when I was much younger, and she, I came home from work or something, and she had made dinner. It was great, and she's like, And so I ate it. It was really tender meat. I was like, this is really good. She goes, did you like it? And I'm like, yeah, what was it? And she goes, beef tongue. Do you want some more? I'm like, yeah, I'll take some more. It was a little weird, but she didn't want to tell me what it was. So now I have a beef tongue in the freezer, and I'm gonna thaw it out and make a video on how to cook it. I don't know how soon, but that's one of my upcoming videos at some point.
So let's see. What hot sauce do you use? Does it have canola oil in it? Oh, this must be part of it. Well, or maybe not. I don't know.
Are they talking back and forth, or was that us and our sardines?
Could be. I use Frank's Red Hot Original. It is clean. Dr. Berry.
I had Tabasco. It's like 6 drops. 6 drops of Tabasco goes a long way.
Oh, honey, 6 drops ain't nothing. I take that thing and I'm serious, man. My sardines and my cod livers are like swimming in the stuff. Like they could dive down to the bottom. Yes. Okay. And
I see. He meant to put Carrie, not Carity.
Haggis just has salt and pepper. Yeah, I didn't see him.
Haggis.
Yeah, haggis. That's what the carnivore trucker says.
But Susan E says haggis.
Haggis. Uh-oh. Who says haggis?
Susan E at 718.
718.
Two higher than that one.
Oh, haggis.
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 Okay.
That's how I say it. Haggis. Yeah. See? I don't know.
We don't know.
But is it potato? Well, it is potato.
No,
potatoes.
There were no potato. There was nothing else in it.
Long though. I would try. Oh, I'd eat it. The way you described it, I'll eat it in a second. So yeah, count me in.
Yeah.
Susan K would know.
Ron, I'm sorry. Susan says, my grandmother used to make tongue sandwiches.
Oh.
My dad used to eat tongue too, like when he was a kid and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My mother would never cook anything like that. Never, ever.
I didn't know people made stuff like that till, my girlfriend made it for me. But I was hooked. It was great. I haven't had it since, though. I keep saying that. That was 40 years ago. Drop me a line. Oh, yeah. Should have Carnivore Trucker on. Sure thing. Carrie's doing all the lives, you guys. It's amazing. What's the lioness thing you guys have coming up? Is that tomorrow night?
That is going to be next week. I am going to be on with Christy tomorrow, but it's just going to be just her and me. And of course, anybody's welcome to join in. Guys are welcome too. But there's no telling what we'll talk about. We're just going to ad lib. Right. We're going to break every rule in the book, just like we're doing tonight. All these other people, they're scripted and they just know what they're going to talk about, and they just have these perfect backgrounds. And maybe at some point I'll improve upon all that stuff, but I just like having conversations with people, just talking and just getting to know people and sharing stories and whatever, interacting.
Isn't it? It's fun, isn't it? And well, you and Christy together, I mean, that's always a good time. You guys have done one or two so far, right?
We've done one so far together. So we're going to do another one. And then I'm actually going to be on their Lioness show. It'll be next week. No, I take it back. Tomorrow. It'll be the week after that. It's October I think it's the 2nd or the 3rd, but it's might be the 3rd.
They've got a trailer out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing a show first, just them, I guess, to introduce the little group, because it's 3 of them. So it's like the intro show, and then I'll be on the week following that intro show. Yeah.
Right. I was on with Carnivore Backwoods on Sunday, and there were 4 of us. So it was like the Brady Bunch,
Okay. Let's see. Mike, when I lived in Guam, my wife friended a local there that introduced us to beef. Okay. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Let's see. It's in Guam. So no, I would have no idea or no.
Kayla
Gwyn. Who knows?
What is it? Culligwin.
Beef.
Hey, Culligwin, man.
Beef, whatever
Sorry.
that is. I don't know what that is.
That's funny.
Cod tongues. Well, I mean, we eat their livers. I guess we can eat whatever.
Are cods that big that they have tongues?
I don't know. How big is a cod? I've never been.
How big is a cod tongue?
I don't know.
Well, their livers are like this big, so yeah, maybe their tongues are. I don't know.
Because your tongue goes down pretty far. I mean, people's tongues do. I don't know about fish ones.
Hey, low carb carnivore.
Yay. And then Susan E says, my granddad used to eat sheep's brain.
Oh, yeah.
And my grandmother used to cook, and I know what tripe is.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, sure, you go down to the Mexican bakery and you can get pozole, or you with the tripe in it, that's menudo. And menudo is famous for being a hangover cure. So Becky was born in Iowa. So Becky, where in Iowa? And it is kind of funny we switched places. But I grew up in Oregon, but I moved away from Oregon when I was 21. I go back to visit occasionally, but I actually lived in Arizona finally longer than I've lived anywhere.
I think it's between Megadeth and Judas Priest. Man, you gotta love some. And hey, my Metamorphosis has cool font too.
What font did you use here? So this is Carrie's shirt. I bought this from Carrie. This is what she calls her concert shirt.
Yes,
it's a great design. Y'all should get one. Support Carrie's channel and buy up a shirt. She's a very talented young lady. This is great. I love it with all the lightning streaks and stuff.
Yep, I had fun making it.
Just saying.
That's what I wanted to do for a living, man. I wanted to design logos and shirts. That's what I wanted to do.
Now we have the internet. You can do it.
I know.
The way you find out.
A good thing.
Yeah, you can do anything, and then you put it out there and see if anyone cares.
Right.
That's how it works.
One person did.
Yeah, me. I was the first one, right?
Yes, you were the first one.
Yes, good. No one can ever take that away from me.
That's right.
That's
Number one in my book.
Number one
Ketovore
fan.
Oregonian says, I'm going to be on with Carnivore Backwoods on October 8th, 7 Eastern. Okay,
Sweet.
That's 6 Central for the time zone that really matters.
Yeah, well, Becky's in Oregon. That's 2 hours earlier than us. It's only 5:30 there.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy girl. Now, Arizona was fun because Arizona stays on Mountain Standard Time all the time. And so you'd have California jumping ahead to join Arizona. And then you'd have New Mexico and Colorado jumping back to rejoin Arizona. And I worked at Family Life Radio, and I was the news director there, and we had newscasts in all time zones. And so I had to keep it all straight in my head all the time. So I got really good at US time zones. But yeah, Arizona is weird because you would have your Sunday morning football game would start at 1, and then after the time change, it would start at noon, and all of your shows would shift an hour, and you'd have to reorganize your life.
Yeah.
But it was cool. And the main reason why is because when it's 108 outside, you want the sun to go down.
Well, yeah,
you don't want to save any daylight.
You don't want to want it to linger, rather.
No. Go down already.
Susan K tried menudo when she was a kid. He was a kid. It was a kid. No, I shouldn't say.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway.
Yeah.
When Susan was a kid, and it wasn't bad. I would. Yeah. It depends. Look, it's not. If the texture is okay.
Yeah.
That's the thing that gets to me. Like the cod liver doesn't taste bad to me, but it reminds me of slime. You remember that stuff that it's not Play-Doh, but it's that stuff that's real like gooey that kids used to play with.
Yeah.
Used to come
slime.
I think it was called slime. Well,
yeah, that's slime. You ever watch Nickelodeon? You can't do that on television?
No.
Because they would slime people when they would say a certain thing.
Oh, okay.
And there are YouTube channels, kids making slime for kids that make millions of dollars. We got 7-year-old millionaires out there making slime for people on YouTube.
Oh, wow. Well, that's what cod liver reminds me of. The texture of it. So I don't mind the taste of it. So if the texture is okay, and it can't have a smell. Yeah. I mean,
you may not like it. It's a little bit slimy.
Yeah, if it's got a scent to it. Now, if it's ground up, maybe and something else, possibly I could maybe eat it. I don't know.
So if it's in menudo, I mean, menudo has all kinds of spices in it, and pasoli, which is hominy, and so it's tasty. And the menudo is just extra protein. So I mean, not everyone likes it, but 9 years in Roswell, New Mexico, and 15 years in Tucson, I've had some menudo.
Oh, wow. So Ron and his wife are leaving for Africa on October 4th, and that is my son's birthday. My son is a 10-4 baby.
10-4. Oh, right. And the other one's 7-11.
7-11.
That's crazy.
So even when I'm old and decrepit, I'll remember their birthdays.
Did you plan that? Well, you're not going to get Alzheimer's on this diet, so you're good, Carrie. You're good. You didn't catch it earlier, Carrie, but I think I'm going to call you Carrie on My Wayward Son from now on.
I did catch that, actually. I love Kansas. Yeah, it's a great group. That's Kansas, correct?
Yep, that sure is.
You will always remember. Carry on.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't want me to start singing. Carrie's shirt looks like a mashup of Ride the Lightning and Pride from White Lion. Oh, yeah. I wanted to say Bark at the Moon, but it's a lion and not a wolf. Yeah.
Let me model for you. I still have weight to lose, so I'm not a good model, but I hate showing off my gut on TV until I lose it.
That's a fun shirt. And you know what? I wear mine. Mine is slightly different. I went through several logo, like some of the logo has like a shadow, I guess, after like a red shadow on the letters. And the one that I have has that. And I may put a version of it out there that's got that, but I kind of thought having all white letters made it just kind of clean, a little more clean.
Well, I love this, but right now, when I went on your site, there's just the two designs, right? I would say, like throwing spaghetti against the wall, try different things, and give people as many choices as you think look decent that you're proud of, because you're a good designer, obviously. And so don't be shy about pushing these.
Well,
I'll push them for you, but I can't be on every live. So I'll push them for you, but I can't be on every live. Buy Carrie's shirts. Link in the description. Is the link in the description, Carrie?
And like, share, and subscribe.
Right.
Y'all know what to do.
All the things. All the things. Christy's in the house too.
Oh.
I know you'll get there. But I just saw her come in. Hey, Christy.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Matthew.
Christy.
Hey, Matthew.
Hey.
Yeah.
What are y'all doing? We're partying.
We are.
What we're doing.
We're talking rock and roll and keto, carnivore, and whatever other random thing comes up. Menudo is a good source of protein. Susan, you're right. It is a little chewy. So not for everybody.
And Christy says that she made her shirts, so that's cool. That's always fun when you make up some
There's
shirts.
so much talent. She's a 5th grade teacher and she makes t-shirts. And I mean, you do data and you make t-shirts. My cousin Tracy, I could brag about him all day long. That guy's he's a genius guy. He was top secret stuff in the Navy, so he hasn't told me any of that because he would have to kill me. Thankfully, he hasn't told me anything. And then he's, was an instructor. Now, this is a really cool thing. So I'm 60. Tracy's 62. Is that right, Tracy? If Tracy's still here. And he's a geeky guy. And we used to play Minecraft. He bought the server. I would mod it, and then me and my son would play. My son was in Texas. I was in Arizona. Tracy in Tennessee, and we'd play Minecraft together, talking on Mumble. Now you use Discord, and it was a bunch of nerdy fun. But it's just funny, they say old people don't like tech, but my cousin's 62, and I called him when I got my first computer because I wanted to learn how to play Doom or wanted to play Doom. And he taught me how to edit my auto config sys and my auto exec bat, my config sys. Anyway.
No, I know what that is.
You do know what that is because you're the data geek. I'm so impressed by that because I do not have that skill.
I didn't know if I had it today, but I did. Okay,
hey, Tracy is still there.
Yes, Christopher is getting a physical on 10/4 day. Good, buddy.
Okay. It has to happen.
And wait for the blood lab results, sonogram and EKG. All right, break a leg.
Okay. All right.
Break a leg.
I'm praying, brother.
Don't say the other phrase.
We're praying for you, brother.
Carnivore truckers sub to Meeting Wellness. It's awesome. The rising tide lifts all boats.
Don't you love that about this community? Everyone encourages each other. There's no backbiting or competition. It's like everyone subs to everyone else. It's a group hug, man.
And awesome. Hey, I like watching all the different channels because everybody has a different style. I mean, some people are more formal. Some people do more interviews. Yeah. Some people do informational videos. And I think the trick is, I think I'm just going to do conversations. I'll do like lab updates. And if I have an opinion on something, then I'll post a video. I mean, I'm still going to post other things, but I really like interacting with people and just talking. Can't you tell? So, but there are so many different people out there. And so whatever you're in the mood for, somebody's got a video that reflects what you feel like watching, because sometimes people don't want to engage in a conversation. They just want to watch something that's maybe 5 or 10 minutes and get a little information or maybe some encouragement or maybe just some highlights. And then other times, maybe you've had a really rough day and you do want to vent. You know, you went to the office because they made you come in for a meeting. Normally you work at home. And then what do? They decide they're going to get lunch, and then they bring in pizza. That happened to me. And this is when I was basically ketovore. And so I was sitting there wondering what on earth I was going to do. And I was like, dadgum, I don't want to eat this pizza. So you know what I did? I was sitting there right in that meeting, or, we were all still around the conference table when the pizzas got passed around. I scooped up those toppings and ate them.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
I felt like a little kid, though. I felt kind of like the kid that would pull the crust off of their
fire alarm,
peanut butter and jelly.
Fire alarm.
Or just felt like, I don't know. I just felt like the bad little picky kid or whatever. But I was like, man, I'm not eating that. I know what it'll do to my stomach. I'm not eating it. And this was before I was carnivore. Like I said, this was when I was like keto/ketovore. That was about a little over a year ago, I think, when that happened. But I was like, right. So I sure did. I just scooped that stuff right off there. And
so Christy said it, and you'll get to it here in a. Christy said it, and you'll get to it here in a minute. But that's what I love about you, Carrie, and I told you this before we went on. Oh, you are the realest person I know on here. You are so real. And it's awesome. Yeah, people are attracted to that. So
thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, it is true. And then we got other computer geeks in here. Susan E. writes Basic and DOS.
Yes. Used to hire programmers for Pascal.
She's not old. Right.
I know. And then, I knew Basic.
And then Carnivore Trucker asked me if what other games I play. So I do play Valheim, Red Dead Redemption 2. And I haven't played Minecraft in quite a while, but I need to get back to my Valheim game. I've just been really busy with stuff.
Is that Red Dead Redemption related to Red Dead Revolver? Is it like a cousin?
I don't think so. I It might be. There was Red Dead Redemption was the original game, which I have not played. And then Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. It's a massive game. And you can just run around, goof off. I like to just go in and go hunting, but you'd go on these missions and they're a bunch of fun. You rob trains and stuff. It's great.
Yeah. I'm thinking there was a Red Dead Revolver game.
I haven't heard of that one, but yeah.
I'm thinking, well, and of course, who knows, my thinking might be a little off.
Do you play games, Carrie?
Hmm?
Do you play any video games or games?
I used to be quite good at duck hunt.
I
was so good at duck hunt. And then we went on a dove hunt, a real life dove hunt. And I had never hunted anything before in my life. And I picked them little suckers. And it was hilarious. My ex-husband was on the phone. You know what? My old lady shot 10 dove today. That's great.
That's awesome.
But I was good at duck hunt. I loved that game.
Didn't you want to shoot that stupid dog? When you missed and the dog would come up and laugh, didn't you want to shoot that stupid dog?
I did want to shoot the dog. I tried many times.
Me too. The game wouldn't let you. I know.
And Susan says, I love the informalness of this live stream. I feel like I'm hanging out with friends. Well, good, because you know what? I have enough formal with my job. Right. And I work with a great team and I love them. I mean, I really do. I've known them for a long time and we've worked well together and everything. But sometimes the powers that be, it's just too much formality. And so I like just hanging out with my peeps here. Yeah. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is great. It's true. We are hanging out with friends. That's kind of the point. Yeah. Matthew, I agree. People are really nice when they're properly fed.
Yes. That is the truth. And then when they don't have enough nutrients and enough of those healthy fats, then they get grumpy and rude and mean. Have you seen how many people just walk around with this? My daughter used to call it a mad looking. She called it, it's like a German word for frown, I guess. It was a word she made up. It was a mad looking. People just walk around like Dave Ramsey says, look like you've been weaned on a pickle. Just walking around, just it's like, man, let's get these.
Goodness.
Something's got to happen to. I don't know why people are just. I mean, I understand life can be hard.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
you never know what people are going through. So.
But everybody. I mean, I can understand maybe if it's one or two people or a few.
Yep.
But it's like you just go to the store and it's like everybody's, grumpy and just hangry. That's what they are. They're hangry.
I think that's what Matthew's got it right. Yep. Just eat more butter and smile.
That's right. More. MOAR. More. Eat more butter.
Yeah. That's right.
My dad's first computer started with a cassette tape. He was able to triple the memory. He was an avionics engineer in the Air Force. Oh, how cool.
That's awesome. That's so good. I do remember backing up to cassette tapes. I can't remember where that was. It was a job I had, I think, and they had a computer. You had to back up at the end of the day. You had to back up to a cassette tape. So they would have a backup. And then, my first computer was a little later. I had a 486DX with 4 megs of RAM and a 256 megabyte hard drive. And it was the latest, greatest. It was $2,000. And my cousin, Tracy, who's in the chat, he was running a bulletin board in Tennessee. And so he was providing internet before there was such a thing. And so I knew he knew that stuff. So that's why I called him and said, hey, I can't get Doom to run. It says it doesn't have enough conventional memory. And he walked me through all that. And that was the beginning of, eventually I learned how to build websites and learned HTML and have built a couple of computers and stuff. It's fun. It's just fun.
Oh, yeah. I really appreciate when the internet was in its infancy. It was so much freer then. And Snowden. I read his autobiography as well.
Oh, wow. I bet you that was interesting.
He talks about like when the internet, like in the mid to late 90s, when the internet was in its infancy, and how the chat rooms and people were just so cool with it's kind of like this environment, like what he was describing, where people would just go in and talk and it, you know, it was before the internet really got ugly. And
I used to go into Yahoo chat all the time and play trivia. And so whoever won the trivia asked the next question. And then they would watch the chat for the first right answer. And then they would ask the next question. It just kept going. And everyone was cool. It was fun.
Yeah. So it's, if you get a chance to read Snowden's book, it's good. It's really good. Carnivore Truckers playing GTA right now. GTA number 647. Because, gosh, I remember Grand Theft Auto. I remember when that came out. Well, I remember, when that was like, I'm not going to say first came out, but I do remember my son having it. And I was like, should he really be playing this? Because it was given to him, I think, for his birthday.
Yeah. Well, I was a bad dad. You know, when I installed Doom, my son was 4. And I used to put Doom in God mode and let him play. Probably not. I mean, it was before I was a Christian, if that means anything. But so my son was playing Doom since he was 4. And then he's the one who got me back into video games because he's kind of a gamer.
You know, my son he went through like a bit of a phase, and then now he just doesn't. His thing is cars. He works on, like, he can take, like, he took 2 separate, oh gosh. It wasn't the Charger. Crap. He took 2 separate cars. One had the bad engine, and then the other one had the bad body, but a good engine. And he just like made it into one like totally bad A car. And then now he's working on a Nova, but he's constantly getting like cars, and he'll work on them, and then he'll fix them up, and he'll drive them for a while, and then he sells them, and then he gets another one. So he's an engineer.
Is he working on muscle? Is he working on muscle cars, like the old muscle cars that you could actually work on?
But he can actually, he actually has fixed my car before, which is a 2017
Oh,
Rogue.
That's good.
I mean, he's fixed it.
There are people who work on muscle cars and restore them that make big bucks doing that.
And he is a wheeler dealer. He goes to these little tote the note lots and places, but I mean, he doesn't pay anywhere near what they're asking, but he gets cash. Like Dave Ramsey says, cash is king. He walk in there with that cash, and are you sure you wouldn't take? He's a big dude. I mean, you'd have to really, you'd have to conk him over the head with a, with a frying pan or something to, But I mean,
maybe that would work. Yeah.
Yeah. So he is, but he's an engineer by trade.
That's cool.
And then my daughter works for a medical billing company. So she's sort of our lines of work kind of overlap.
No
she
doubt.
Does like 837 and 835 and, the billing files.
I tried to do a Cold Fusion website, which is a database format for a friend. And I was starting to get it to work, but my head hurt. Just dealing with those databases and stuff I did not enjoy. But so mad respect for what you do, Carrie.
I think it helps if sometimes there are now I understand, like back in the day you had very limited characters that you could use when you were naming things, like, and that was true of files or anything else, but sometimes you run into a database. Now we've modernized most of ours, so the naming conventions, we follow the naming conventions, and we also give the tables name. Like, for example, if it's table vendor address, for example, it's TBL vendor address. I mean, that's what we name it.
Oh, right.
So what's in there. That's just an example.
Good.
Actually, you would only have address, and you would have a type, most likely. In other words, it wouldn't be
Okay.
just vendor address, but you get my point. It would be table address.
Yeah.
Very
Right. But you have
straightforward.
to build the database and maintain the database on the back end so that the front end can pull information that it needs to do whatever it needs to do with it. So that's pretty amazing. I mean,
Well, we have
basically,
developers that do that part. What I do
okay.
mostly is like
Uh-huh.
I'll do the we will do sometimes we will do between my manager and me, we will like design the like we will find out what they are needing, and then we will, you know, do the whole business process, and then like truly find out what they need and not what they think they want. And it's
Right,
and it's
yes.
not always, I mean, sometimes it is difficult to figure out because they don't really know what they want, and you have to walk them through that process. And so then once we do that, and then we do screen designs and we make prototypes and stuff like that. But I mean, there's a whole process that goes along with it. But I used to code. I did code in basic, general, basic, and then let's see, Java.
Wow, nice. Java's a good language. Not
and
that
I did
know
access databases. I did that for a while.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was trying to, when I was doing the Cold Fusion website, I bought a copy of Access and I was trying to deal with that. So that's part of my frustration. So you're way ahead of me on that stuff.
I don't think I ever played Pitfall.
I didn't play Pitfall. I played Pole Position.
Susan did.
Numb Thumb Badge. Okay. On the C64.
You can play it backwards.
You can play it backwards? I don't know. I don't know what it is, so.
I love you too, low carb carnivore. That's right. Meat and metal, baby. Hey,
rock
you
and
need
roll.
to get one of my meat and metal shirts.
You do. Link in the description.
Yes, I will do that. Low carb carnivore. You got to do it, man. If you haven't seen it.
Yeah, at least check it out. Yeah. I mean, this is a good shirt. This is the one I got. I got the concert shirt. I got
all right,
like
I'm gonna do something totally unprofessional just because I can and because my people love me. I'm gonna go get that other shirt so that low carb carnivore can see it. Because meat and metal. Hang on.
Yep. Let's see. I can look through. I can see the comments before, but I don't have control of the screen, so I can't put them up there.
Okay, I'm back.
Let's
see. I'm here.
She's back. There we go. Yep, that's the one. That's the other. So these are your two designs, right? Right now?
Well, and then another one says it has the same like tiger with the lightning or lion with the lightning, but then it says welcome to on the top, and then it says metamorphosis at the bottom. So there's two different ways, but yes. So see, you need to get one of those, low carb carnivore.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I did like to play Pong.
I played Pong. Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, I would say I'm a Gen Xer.
I'm a baby boomer.
Are you a boomer? I guess I'm like right on the line. I was born
last year for boomers was 64, so I'm 63. I just barely slid in there. Yep, I'm a barely boomer.
Oh yes. And you know what's wild is when you listen to Rush 2112 and they talk about their great computers, fill these hallowed halls.
Oh yeah, fill these hallowed halls. We
are the priests of the temples.
We are the priests of the temples of Syrinx. Yeah, the songs just jump in your head. Are you like that, Carrie? Something will remind you of something and the song jumps in your head.
Yeah, and then I'll change the words around a little bit for whatever situation I'm in.
Right. Or I'll misunderstood the words for years. Parsley, sage row, Marion thyme. I'm like, what's sage row? I did it for years. I never knew. It's just stupid stuff. It's funny,
Yeah,
though.
well, let's see. Before internet, we had message networks like FidoNet. The messages were tossed from. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's my cousin. That he was into that stuff back then.
Okay. Susan says, I've been putting up hamburger meat in Ziploc bags in the freezer. Now I'm cleaning up the kitchen, unloading and reloading the dishwasher. I did all my food prep over the weekend, most of it on Saturday. So I was
I don't do food prep. The only food prep I do is I'll take a steak out of the freezer and put it in the refrigerator. But with the air fryer, it doesn't even matter. I can cook it from frozen.
I had one. My first personal computer was you had to put a disc in one of the big floppies.
When they were floppy.
When they were truly floppy, not the plastic floppies, but the really floppy, the big, what is it, 5-inch discs, I guess is what they were, right?
Five and a half.
You had a boot disc. And then you pulled that one out, and then you put in another one, and then you put your software disk in. And no, you put your software disk in, and then when you went to save, you had to take that disk out and put the disk that you're going to save onto in there. To save your work. Yeah. You didn't even have a hard drive. Or mine didn't.
Right. No, not back then. But even then they were little miracles because, originally computer would fill my room with a bunch of reel-to-reel tapes,
We can read a map without an app. Yes. When my son and I went on our Route 66 road trip, I had to use a map.
Christy.
I used a map. I bought this book off of Amazon. Yep. And
so it wasn't a foldable one? Because that was the trick, getting it to fold back right.
No, this was like a book. It was really cool. I've still got it. And it had Route 66 is not straightforward. You had old Route 66 and new Route 66. Plus you also have I-40. Because sometimes, so you would have to know when to get on the interstate and when not. We ended up in a field once. We just laughed about it, which is a good thing. And we didn't get stuck.
It is. Yeah, that's fun.
He played Dungeons and Dragons. I have a couple of friends who were into D&D. I never was really into it, but they sure were.
I didn't play that. Yep. My stepbrother was into D&D. 286 SVGA with 20 megabytes. Yes.
And that thing was jamming too.
Yeah, I had a 486 DX, so think how advanced mine was when I finally got into it. Now, my computer, I got 93, I think.
Let's see. Christy says, when you play Pitfall backwards, those alligators seem more difficult to me.
It's harder to see them coming, I imagine.
Yeah, this is true for going backwards. And then Susan's a boomer.
All right.
But are we? The older ones are way different. Yeah, I think it's kind of like a horoscope. The closer you get to the cusp, you have characteristics of the next one.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So there's a thing called tweeners. You could Google it. It's a real thing. I don't know who came up with it. So the people like me who are barely boomers and the early Gen Xers actually share more traits together than I'd probably share more traits with this tweener group than I do with the baby boomers. And the early Gen Xers, the tweener group more than the rest of the Gen Xers. So it's kind of a subset someone made up, or I don't know. But if you're interested, Google tweeners. And so you'll find that that's a thing too. So I am a tweener as well.
I'll do that. I'll look into that. That's cool. Then Keto
yay, Becky.
1962.
Okay.
And Susan is 1960. I'm 66.
I'm 63.
I mean,
Tracy
we all family. We don't care
Tracy would
if people know.
Are you 60? Were you born in 61, Tracy? I think Tracy's 2 years older than I am. So.
Yeah.
Oh, the Wang. My Wang does wonders. Remember those commercials?
Oh yes, I remember that now. I mean,
My Wang does one. I had a friend. His dad worked for Wang, and he had one of those bumper stickers on his car. My Wang does wonders.
So have you? I have not listened to Theocracy yet. I still haven't.
No, I haven't. I haven't either.
But I am going to.
Oh no! You suggested. What was it you suggested from Judas Priest that I listened to, but I can't remember.
Oh, Sad Wings of Destiny. And the whole album is great, but there are some. Yeah. It really showcases Rob's voice, and there's more. You just have to listen to it. It's hard to describe.
You're right. Well, what's cool now is, I have YouTube Music. I don't have to go down to the record. I don't have to go down to Tower Records and spend $20.
But yes, Theocracy.
Yeah. Sad Wings of
Destiny.
I know. I stole the density thing from Back to the Future.
Oh, gotcha.
You are my density. Anyways, hilarious.
Oh, that's yes. Instead of destiny.
And then he played the cassette player in his ear. I don't know.
Yes. Fun. Oh, I remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah, those were great movies. Classic for a reason. Mike, what year are tweeners? I don't know, Susan. I'm not sure. Southern Oregon State. Where's that, Becky? Where is Southern Oregon State? I could Google it.
Oh, of the owl on the Rush Fly By Night album cover.
Isn't that cool? That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that album art. I know you wanted to do album art, Carrie. Have you done any of that kind of stuff? Yeah.
I wanted to for a living, but I never did. I used to draw stuff and paint stuff all the time. I would just be like locked in my room with my albums and my art for hours.
I'm looking. Oh, it's in Ashland. Okay. Southern Oregon State in Ashland, Oregon. They have the Shakespeare Festival there every year. It's world famous. Yeah. And some skiing up there.
I haven't thought about those. I was digging through some stuff as one is wont to do. And I ran across some of those 5-inch floppies, and they went to recycling because there was nothing I could do with them. I mean, there was no way I could ever retrieve anything off of them.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. I couldn't even believe I still had them, and it wasn't like a ton of them, but I mean, I ran into, I don't know, it was like 5 or 6 of them. It was a box. I don't know. It just had some like random stuff in it, and those discs.
That's cool.
Were in there.
Well, it's probably got some. Yeah, who knows what's on there? Some old spreadsheets and maybe a game or two that you'll never be able to play because there's no computer in the world that could run it anymore. There's probably not even emulators for them. I mean, computers today, not only do they not have A drives anymore, they don't even have CD or DV drives anymore.
Nope, not anymore.
No. Yep. It's a crazy world. Time marches on.
Wow.
So my cousin was born in 60. Gotcha, cuz.
Used to work for Quotron terminals in the original Wall Street movie, competitor to Reuters. We had messaging systems before the internet. I bet you did.
That's fancy, Susan. Susan's got some interesting stories. Susan, do you do videos? I haven't. Do you have a channel?
I don't think. Do you? If you do, I need to subscribe to it, and I'm sorry, but I don't think I have.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
But I will.
Yeah, Susan E's got some interesting stuff going on there.
And then Ketovore says, I threw my atlas away a few months ago with all the state maps. Think it was from my insurance agent, probably.
Right. Like I had a friend who worked for AAA. Yeah. I had a friend who worked for AAA, and they had a wall of maps behind them. They would just hand out maps to RVers.
And did orienteering and Sea Cadets had to use a compass and a map. Boy, could you imagine some of these people tried to Use
I
the
don't
compass
know.
and a map and the stars.
Yeah, I know where
Actually,
Polaris is. I know where Polaris is, Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, and Orion, and that's about it. Maybe the Pleiades. That's maybe about it.
Let's see. The computer I used at work, says Tracy, you input instructions by pressing lights to make the instructions work.
Wow. Dang, dude.
Yeah.
Tracy has a lot of good stories too. Some of them are about my dad, I think.
Ketovore Oregonian's first computer was in 1995. That's about the time I got my first computer.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take that back. Yeah. That would have actually been my second computer. The first one that I got was the one that I told you about where you had to swap stuff in and out. And I think it was maybe around 96 when the black IBMs came out. It was an IBM, and I remember seeing the commercials, and all the other computers were like the kind of like the tan color, you know, and these computers were black, and I wanted, even though, I mean, they didn't have flat screens obviously yet, but I wanted a black computer. So
that's cool.
Plus I wanted one that I didn't have to load discs in every time, and they just made it all look so freaking cool. And so I did one of the dumbest things that I have ever done in my life. It was really dumb. This was in 1996, I believe. It could have been 97. But I went to Circuit City and charged up $2,000 worth of computer stuff. Yes, I did.
How much? I remember Circuit City. I used to love that place.
That was a lot of money.
No doubt. So, I mean, 1983, I think, is when I got my computer. It was $2,000. And I don't know what 1983 $2,000 would be worth today, but I got a bank loan.
Oh, did you?
I got a loan from the bank so I could give this guy $2,000 for an IBM clone, that 486DX. It's a different world, man.
Yeah, and this was I can't remember. I should know, but it was an IBM something. I just know it was IBM, this computer.
Yeah.
And it was black, and it was just, they had them on TV, and they was just cool as heck. And I was interested in computers, and we had just gotten computers at work too. And so I was really excited to, so I did. I went and charged, got a printer and just all kinds of, you name it, I got it.
They were
probably happy to see me come, and they knew. And of course, I was kind of mad at my ex-husband because he decided to go on a hunting trip and I couldn't go, and I was a little mad. And so I just decided I was going to go buy a computer. I was dumb and childish back then, but there you go. Truth.
At least you didn't buy a new dress. So, you know.
No, this is true. I was beyond the dresses. Yeah, that's right. No new dresses.
That's right. Me. Yeah. So same thing with me. So the reason why I always wanted a computer, but the reason why I rationalized it was when I finally became the weatherman, and I'm like, well, I'm going to be dealing with computers. I need to get one. So that's why I did.
Yeah.
It was great though. I'm glad I did. Yeah.
It's an investment.
It turned out to be true. Yep.
All right. Okay. I graduated in 1984. We got class of 87, class of 89. Oh, wait. Looky here. She 10.
I know, right?
For Wayne. Yeah, I know. I'm behind, I guess. All right.
Well, she's like the most interesting person on the internet.
I know.
She's got a lot of different, she got a wide variety of stuff. It's pretty good. But then, you know, Christy's here too. You know, Christy does a lot of stuff, and I mad respect for a 5th grade teacher, right?
Oh man. My daughter-in-law is a teacher. So I have mad respect for teachers. They have to put up with a lot. There's so many regulations, and I can imagine in Christy's neck of the woods that it's probably a bit of a challenge.
Yeah. Well, what did she put in chat the other day? She has to pass some TB. She got to be cleared for TB. I'm like, I've never known anyone who had TB ever. Why do you have to be cleared for TB? But I mean, maybe with all this immigration going on right now, maybe it's a thing.
Could be.
But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yes, welcome to Circuit City, where services is state of the art. Oh boy,
state of the art.
They saw me coming, and they
should have
were
bought
like,
stock.
Golly, man,
Cha-ching.
I don't know. By the time I got all the cables and the plugs and plus, of course, you had to have printer paper, you had to have ink, you had to have, I mean, just you name it, everything, speakers. I mean,
back then a sound card, a better video card. I bought a computer that I forgot which computer I bought there. It wasn't an HP. Maybe I did buy my HP there, but anyway, yeah. Yep.
Oh, wow. First word processor I learned on was a 6 foot wide with a 10-inch screen. Wow.
In 1981. That's awesome. I took a programming class in my sophomore year in high school, and it was basic, and it was a 9 weeks class. And we didn't have any computers. We had a teletype in the closet that dialed into a timeshare into Oregon City, which was 10 miles away. And so we had to write out our programs by hand, and then you would get 10 minutes once in a while to input it to see if it would run. And the final was to write a game that worked. And I wrote a hangman game. That class was a blast, but it just freaks me out. We had a teletype that dialed into a timeshare. So yeah. And look at us now. I'm using my phone as a webcam on my M1 Mac Mini with a double wide flat screen, talking into a Yeti microphone, talking to Carrie in Tennessee and dozens of people in the chat.
I know.
From all over the world. It's cool.
It is cool.
It's cool.
It does remind me of the early, this atmosphere reminds me of the early days of the internet, like AOL, You Got Mail and all of that. Yeah, it does. It reminds me of that time frame.
It was good. And everyone in here I don't know everyone in here, but a lot of us are around the same age. So we have Radio Shack. We had the phone on the wall with the long cord.
Oh, yes, we did.
That you would get clotheslined if your mom was talking and trying to cook at the same time.
Either that or when your boyfriend called and you were trying to get the phone to reach in your bedroom.
Right. And then you're like, get off the phone, Mom. I'm trying to talk. On the extension. Your mom's on the extension listening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Had to do it.
You kids don't know how good you have it.
Right. And then my friend Tanya was really lucky because they got their own line. That's right. They got their own line. Her and her
those are the rich kids.
No, not really. But for whatever reason, I mean, they got one.
The spoiled kids.
The spoiled kids, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. That's cool. Good for them.
They had their own
I'm happy for them. But, if we're all meeting at the pinball arcade at 8:00 and someone doesn't show up, you couldn't call them.
Nope.
So the next day he's like, hey, where were you, man? Right? There were you didn't text people. So either you showed up or you didn't.
I remember I didn't want a cell phone initially because I didn't want anybody to be able to just keep up with where I was every minute of the day. And to this day, if I look at a text, people will say, well, why didn't you text me back? And I'm like, well, I'll get around to it. But I mean, I just didn't, I saw it wasn't that important at the moment. And, people say, well, they'll text you just this random stuff. And then like 5 minutes later, it's like, you there? I'm like, yeah, I'm here. Aren't you supposed to be
Thankfully, I don't have friends like that.
I don't mostly, but I mean, every now and then I've got a couple people that'll be like, what are you doing? And it's the middle. I'm like, I'm working. What are you doing? Or I'll just ignore them. Right. And then there'll be another text coming back. You ignoring me? Yes. Actually, I am.
Actually, I am. You know, what's funny about that? You said you didn't want to be followed around, and now my joke is Google gets nervous when they don't know where I am.
Yes.
Because they all know exactly where all of us are. Yes, they do.
Had a shared phone line in England. Grandparents' phone was one of the old Bakelite phones from the 1950s. So that would be what we would call a party line here, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that have been a party line?
Yeah, I remember party
like
lines.
The old Andy
Thankfully, we
Griffith
never
show
had one.
When they would have the.
Or you jiggle the thing and an operator gets on and you're like, yeah, can you connect me with? And then they would actually connect you with someone. I mean, that's the early days. I don't remember that. But I'm old, but not quite that old. Yeah, right.
If you were a teenage
I
girl,
hope to make
sometimes your dad would spy on you on the extension if you were talking to a boy, or get mad.
That's right.
Since you saw your friends all day, get off the phone. You just got home from school.
That's right. That's right. Or if they, you know, if you did something, you get grounded from the phone.
Yes.
It was a punishment. Yep.
It was a bad punishment.
We had it rough, man. We had it rough.
I think we had it great. I mean, there's some good things. Change is I mean, the only thing that stays the same is change. And there are some good things about it. A lot of good things. One being this, you know, this group and the fact that we can, as Mike was saying, we can all talk to each other and, you know, share whatever, tell stories, just, you know, have a really good time, get to know each other from all over the world, all over the country.
Yeah.
At the same time, boy, I mean, kids like that. I mean, I said, kids these days, I swear them dang blasted kids. And they're on the phone constantly, like at the grocery store. My God, you go to the checkout. If it's not a self-checkout, you go to the checkout.
Of course.
And they're like,
oh, yeah.
And it's like, Bueller, hello.
Walmart's trained me well. I'm quite good at checking out.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in my day, that's right. I remember back. It was 1954, I think it was, or was it 74?
They just get by me after a while. The years they blend together. How old were you when your family got a color TV? I will say this. We were so broke we couldn't pay attention. We did not have a color TV as long as I lived at home.
Wow.
I did not have one.
My dad was always into the latest, greatest TV technology, which was fantastic growing up. We even had a projection TV when they came out. I mean, all this cool gadget stuff. I don't remember having a black and white TV. I think we always had a color TV as long as I can remember. That was the one thing my dad liked to spend money on, was he always had the best TV, which was great because I was his kid and I always had the best TV. I didn't always get to watch what I wanted.
Right.
We got a VHS machine when they first came out, and the remote was actually on a wire.
I figured you were the remote.
Yeah, well, I was the remote. I was before that.
Put the tape in.
Right. That VHS was $1,000 my dad paid for that thing because he wanted to be, you know, kind of like I am with phones. You know, you want to be the first one to have the latest, greatest. So, yeah, my dad had some good TVs. I
remember pagers. I have a story about pagers. I know you can't believe it. Carrie has a story. So, you know how them blasted kids with cell phones. Well, when my daughter was a teen, it was pagers. So she comes to me and she says, Mama, I want to get a pager. And I told her no. Well, all my friends have pagers. And I said, well, let me tell you what. I said, you and your friends aren't doctors or drug dealers, so you don't need a pager. So I did not let her get a pager. But I mean, really, doctors and drug dealers, those were the only people who needed pagers.
I hated my pager because I didn't have one that was mine. I had one from work when I was a news photographer. And so sometimes you'd be on call over the weekend. It would be your weekend to be on call. So you'd have to take home the scanner and a pager. And if someone got in a bad wreck in the middle of the night or something, you'd have to throw your pants on and grab the gear and go. So I hated the pager, but yeah, we had one.
Let's see. Susan, let's see. Well, Tracy says, I think we got one in the mid 80s. And then Susan had a black and white TV. See, I had a color. I got a little color, had a little tiny, I guess it was 12-inch, maybe black and white TV in my room. Yeah. I think when I was like about maybe 15. And then cool. My parents had like a bigger, it was black and white. It was black and white. Yeah. It was black and white TV.
Yeah, everything was rabbit ears.
But Christopher Thompson says had a pager too. Of course you did.
Yep.
My youngest son, who is in IT at GE, hardly talks at all. He had to have a phone used to use no more than 15 minutes a month and about 20. Yes. Oh, yeah. Back then, the data usages, it was so expensive.
Yep. Yeah. And you had to pay extra for long distance. Right. Yeah. And then they had family and friends. You could call cheaper if they were in your family and friends.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I'm so glad we got past all those stupid days. Just give me unlimited text and talk and data. We can get on with our lives.
Well, you remember AOL started out like they timed how long you were on. And then after a while, they just made it unlimited. And
yeah, I never had AOL. So I had Prodigy. And the reason why I got it was because I worked at a CBS station. Mm-hmm. And we got five logins at the station, and they gave me one of them because I was one of the few people that had a computer. So that's one of the perks of being a radio and TV guy. You don't have to pay for some things. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, Betamax, and actually Betamaxes had higher quality video than VHS.
So being a TV guy, VHS won the consumer market, Beta won the commercial market. So in TV, I used to shoot on a Betacam. We had Beta decks. So TV for years lived on Beta. So Beta didn't lose. They went commercial, and VHS Beta went professional, I guess. Mm-hmm. And VHS was commercial. Yep. I was making hand signals, I guess, because I'm Italian, but that's me shooting on a Betamax.
I knew what that was. Yes. In 1967, Susan says, I was 7. Yeah. My grandparents worked hard and saved until they could pay cash. I was about 11 or 12 when our home and family got a color TV in 1972.
Awesome.
And they used to, TVs used to be like furniture. Like it was like a monumental thing. Like you would have, some people had the like it was just the TV and the wood
console.
Other people had the stereo in it and all of that. You could have everything all in one piece. I would love to find, I don't know that I would want the TV. And honestly, if I found one, I would probably buy it. And then I don't know, it wouldn't fit in my poor little tiny living room. But I would really like to get a vintage record player in the cabinet, that had the cassette deck and the radio and 8-track.
Do you have some vinyl? You have some vinyl still, don't you?
I don't have much vinyl. My son's got it all now. He does have a turntable. I don't have a turntable, so he's got most of it. Mm-hmm.
I had a turntable. I let it go, and I've moved a couple times in the last 4 years. And so I've pared weight. I threw a bunch of stuff out, gave a bunch of stuff away. So I don't have my turntable anymore. I do have my albums, and I've got quite a few 45s. Mm-hmm. But not love what I used to. I used to have 300 albums. My first radio job, we were a radio and records reporting station. And so you would have all the reps calling, trying to get their music added to your playlist, because that's what made up the playlist that they did American Top 40 off of and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I was music director after I'd been there for 2 years. I was the music director. So I remember this guy called me from Mercury. He's like, "Who's your favorite band?" I'm like, "Rush." He goes, "How about if I send you the whole catalog?" I'm like, "Okay." So they would do favors like that for you, hoping that they could, they're trying to pay you off to get, whatever hit song they're pushing added to the playlist. You know what I mean?
Oh, I've got some Rush
Payola
stuff that I would like to show. I should have gotten it. We'll have to do another live and maybe get into a Rush discussion. We'll have to fit Rush into Carnivore somehow, like kind of like Meat and Metal. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. But I've got like an incredible DVD find that I got at a used DVD store of Rush, and then a friend of my brother's gave me. It's a book by this photographer, and it's like this limited edition book. And when he first bought the book, this dude is a huge Rush fan too. My brother's best friend is a huge Rush fan. And I'll have to tell the story behind all of that, but I'll have to show you that stuff, and I'm sure you'll appreciate it. I love Rush, but I'm not like the dedicated fan that knows every bit of trivia. Like, I'm sure you probably know a lot, but I know that my brother's best friend is like but he gave me this book because he ended up getting one that was signed that was actually addressed to him because there was a story.
That's cool.
So he gave me this book. But it's really nice, and I've got some pretty cool, and then I've got a shirt from the Signals tour when I went and saw them in '82.
I'm so jealous. I love Rush, but my music knowledge, seriously, it's an inch deep and a mile wide. So I know a little bit about what maybe a lot, but I don't know. I know so many more people who know a lot more.
Susan says, I have a turntable, but the speaker's blue. I wonder how that happened.
I don't know.
Must have been listening to Rush. I don't know what happened there. I have no clue.
Must have been. So we could do a live about Rush, and we could call it the Rush Hour.
Yes, we could.
And then we'll talk 2.5 hours like tonight.
Yep. And then, yes, I agree with Susan. The VHS in the UK was better quality. It was better quality here in the States, but it just didn't, like what Mike said, it just didn't win in the market in terms of mass, the public.
Right.
But yeah, Beta was a better product.
I like the form factor better. The cassettes are smaller. But in TV, you go by the width of the tape. So there was 2-inch tape, and we used to throw breaks on these big, massive machines, and you had these 2-inch tapes, and you kick the bottom of it to start and stop it, to loosen it, and you cue up these, and you play the commercials off of this giant thing and 2-inch wide tape. And then we used to shoot on 3/4, and that's when I got into it. And you had a big camera on one shoulder and then a big deck on the other shoulder. It weighed a bunch. I weighed about 50 pounds altogether, trying to lug that around in a tripod. That was fun. And then we went to Beta, which was 1/2 inch, and that was much better. And now the news people, sometimes they use their phone, and they've got these little cameras. One problem with the little cameras, it's harder to hold a steady shot. When you've got some heft on your shoulder, it's a lot easier to go without a tripod. But anyway.
That does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It does.
I've gotten good with the phone, but
when I started my channel, I was just using my phone. And of course I've got a couple of tripods. Now they're not anything elaborate, but I've got one that's a little shorter, kind of a fatter tripod. And then I've got a taller one that like you can take, like, you know what I'm saying? That'll extend up so that you could like take a full length picture or something if you wanted to do that. But so I started out mostly on my phone and then just started working with it on my computer. And I'm just learning stuff every day, but it's fun. And I love talking to everybody and sharing, like I said, sharing stories. And, certainly we, want to hear anytime that somebody's in the chat or whatever, if you've had a rough day and you just need to vent, do it. To talk about some challenges that you're having, or if you want to share victories, anything fun that, or anything good that happened, something, or a friend maybe converts to carnivore, or at least starts going low carb, you can talk about that, whatever. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to run. We have been at this 2.5 hours, my friend, and we were just getting good start. We need to do a 24-hour live stream. No,
we do. We need a good cause.
5-hour.
Yeah, right. There you go. That'd be better.
And then because we're all tweeners, we could do like scheduled bathroom breaks.
Right. Yes, that's
at
right.
the top of the hour. All the tweeners will go to the bathroom.
Yeah. That would be great. We should do this again. I'm frozen again. How'd that happen? Oh, hang on.
What'd you do?
Oh, it's probably my phone again, disconnecting from the cam. Yep, that's what happened.
Well, I guess your phone is telling you it's time to go anyway.
Well, I do have some dogs I'm supposed to be watching.
Uh-oh.
I know.
And Christy's,
I didn't know wouldn't plan on being away this long, but
oh yes, Low Carb Carnivore says we could take bets on who'd pass out first.
Right.
This is true.
I'm
telling you, I was cracking up about the chafee. Did you see that? Crap. JT posted that about where they were like half asleep when chafee was on.
Oh, I didn't. I saw the thumbnail and I didn't click on it. It was short too.
Yeah,
I'll catch up on that one. And then, right, Christy will be in the seat tomorrow. She's actually driving to Iowa so she can use my stuff to be on. It's amazing.
That is fantastic.
That's dedication. That's dedication, Christy, right there.
That is definitely dedication.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but she'll be in the hot seat.
And Susan says, have a great evening, all, and you all as well. And hey, Mike, I'll be reaching back out to you. We'll set something up for another day soon. This was fun.
That'd be great.
I had a great time. It was not formal at all, no interview, but hey, nope. I guess I just.
So, Mike, what did you do in 3rd grade? No, we didn't do that.
Did you ever blow your speakers?
I did. I do have a story about that.
All right. Let's see. My teen self would make fun of the adult me. Oh my God, yes. There's a part of me. Look, I won't quit going to my concerts. Don't care. I'll stay up late and go get my labs done the next day and laugh about it.
Right.
I felt
same, Susan. Exactly the same, Susan. That's about when I lost it.
Last from the past. Good night, everybody. And on that note, good night, everybody. I love you all. And tomorrow night, Christy's going to be on with me at 6 Central, 6 p.m. That is, not a.m. I'll still probably be dragging my butt out of bed now if the sun's late coming up. But anyway, see you all tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central. And in the meantime, y'all have a great day. Oh, and by the way, okay, just before we go, I need to if anybody has not subscribed, please tell us where people can find you.
Yeah. Put your channels in the chat if you haven't done that already.
Or your channel as well. Yours. I was about where people can find you.
Oh, me?
Yourself. Yes.
So it's my name. It's Mike Shaw TV. So if you go at Mike Shaw TV, you'll find my YouTube channel. Really, that's where I am on all the social medias. Be careful with Twitter because I get very political on Twitter. But I'm on Twitter at Mike Shaw TV and also Facebook at Mike Shaw TV. And
are you on Instagram?
Rumble, Mike Shaw TV. What's that?
Are you on Instagram?
Instagram, yeah. Yeah, Mike Shaw TV. I don't post much on Instagram, but I haven't yet. Instagram is pretty sunset. I do have some pretty nice pictures on Instagram. So it might be worth checking out.
All right.
Someday I want to be an amateur photographer.
I love photography. And
Yeah,
I'm
me
not
too.
sure
It's
how
fun.
good I am, but I love it. But anyway, all right. And where
Oh,
can we
Carrie is my meat. Oh, I'm sorry. You're going to tell him.
I am at my metamorphosis, and it's all one word: MEATOMORPHOSIS.
So MY and then the t-shirt.
Yes, all one word. It's a long word, but it's worth it.
Let me put it. He's in my chat, so let me put it in there.
Okay.
Metamorphosis, right?
Yes. There's a story behind that, but I didn't like using the A. I didn't want to use the A, so I used an O. Thought it flowed
so
better.
My metamorphosis is it's all O's. MEATOM. Yep, I got it right. All right, just follow that, Tracy. There we go.
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
Yes, and I am there again. I'm just so professional here. I bet you professional YouTubers probably, man, check this chick out. She is just like so ridiculous.
Oh, Susan. Susan put her stuff in here. Susan K.
Yes.
Low quality videos of dogs.
Oh, I love doggies.
Who doesn't like low quality videos of dogs?
What do you
Everyone
mean you need to make
that.
a real channel? I mean, yes, you could do carnivore, but your channel needs to be what you like, what you want to do.
YouTube can be a hobby anyway. I found you, Susan K. I subbed up.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm going to have to look. I'm just writing it down because I'm old.
I've got my Chrome browser. I have a double wide monitor, so I can do, 2 or 3 windows.
Yeah, and I've actually got dual monitors, but
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then I've got an iPad. Well, the dogs are watching my iPad now, but so sometimes I'll put it off to the side and I can use it as a third monitor. It's kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get a bigger desk so that I can have 3 monitors. Then I would have my control panel like I did at the office. I've got this little dinky desk, man. But anyway, all right. This stream is truly ending because I really have to go. But I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. You all have a great rest of the day. Bye, everybody.
Bye.